We are live here on YouTube for Any Given Thursday, Episode 2. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. And Chase, we let the people have influence on the show name last week for Episode 1. We've settled on a name. It's Any Given Thursday.
It's funny, too, because we kind of had a good idea that Any Given Thursday worked for the show, but we put it up as a live poll last week during our pilot episode, and people overwhelmingly voted for AGT, Any Given Thursday. So that's going to be the name. We'll be going live every single week at this time. Be sure to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and look, kind of like we told you guys last week, if you're new this week, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. Hot topics happening in the NFL, NBA. We want to do some sports gambling stuff. Some of us did well against the spread in the NFL. Some of us did not. We will get to that later on in the show. But it's going to be fun, free-flowing style of show here at Chat Sports. Hope you'll join us every single week, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. Spread the word to all of your buddies. So here's kind of what's coming up on the show today, and then we'll jump into it here in a few minutes. The top 5 big threes in NFL history. This has kind of been a hot topic, Chase, after Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce went off in Week 1. So we thought we would explore, because we'll start every show with the 5 at 5, because it's 5 o'clock Eastern.
And that's going to be our top 5 at 5 for today. And when you look back at the course of NFL history, there have been so many great big threes, but big threes has always been a conversation around the NBA. But hold up. I know that 5-on-5 and basketball lends itself more to being a big three sport, but as we'll show you, some great and epic big threes throughout the course of NFL history.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Week 2 NFL picks, like we said, Chase and I will make our picks against the spread. We'll update the standings in the Chat Sports office. Some of us did well, some of us did not, so stay tuned for that. Are the Warriors title contenders with a healthy Klay Thompson? Plus, they're working out a veteran free agent. We'll get you guys caught up on everything going on in the Bay. And then 2 mailbags today. We're going to do an NFL live Q&A, so use hashtag NFL. Get your NFL questions related. And then later on in the show, as we tell you what's kind of on the second half of the show here, hashtag NBA. So hashtag NFL for NFL questions, hashtag NBA for NBA-related questions. Josh Gordon destinations. He has applied for reinstatement, Chase, trying once again for another chance in the National Football League. The latest college football rumors, USC specifically. What's going on the West Coast?
Well, I'm going to tell you why I think James Franklin should stay put in Happy Valley. I think Penn State is a better job right now than USC. Of course, USC nationwide brand has a lot of potential long-term, but right now, I think Penn State's a better gig.
All right, we'll talk about that and more going on in college football, plus our picks in Week 3. Like I said, NBA mailbag, hashtag NBA. And then the final word. This was a finalist for one of our show name ideas, but we're going to name the final segment every week. The final word, Jameis. Has he been reborn under Sean Payton?
He looked like he was in the best shape that I've ever seen him in his NFL career.
That beer gut is gone.
The beer gut is gone. The arm was firing. He looked athletic, spry, and quick. We'll explore that as well.
That'll be absolutely fantastic. Couple of questions just to get the live chat going here. Then we'll jump into the 5 at 5. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from. That way we can interact with all of you. We are here in Dallas, Texas. So let us know where you guys are watching from right now, because we're always curious to see where you are across the board. Across the globe, I should say. Juan Hernandez says he's in Vegas. Mitchell Renz was there, and I don't think he's left based on how he sounds this week.
Yeah, so the voice is a little hoarse.
Yeah, he's
party hard in Vegas.
He's done better.
It's understandable.
The Carolina guy says Raleigh, Washington, North Carolina from Nick Fury, Columbia, South Carolina, Vegas, Seattle from Anish, SoCal, Charlotte. Someone's saying Russell Wilson must be your favorite player. Iowa from Evan. The Objective is in Virginia. Afghanistan. Lots going on over there these days. The UK and L2 Cloud. Appreciate you guys for letting us know. Also, we're bringing back the Super Chat menu. If you want to Super Chat just in general, or if you have next level questions for our NFL or NBA mailbag, if you Super Chat, it's guaranteed to get on the show. $1, we'll shout you guys out. $5, hey, we'll go ahead and cheers you. Oh man, this one is like, You ever have it where like the little prong is like just dug into the beer?
Not usually.
That was this one.
I usually don't have any trouble with that.
Yeah. $20. Producer Jack will take a shot. He's not going to do Fireball. He's more of a vodka guy. So, maybe we'll take shots of Fireball.
I'm down. Let's go. It's Thirsty Thursday.
Let's get after it. $50. Chase is ready to shotgun beers. So we're going to have some fun with that. Wanted to remind you guys, 2 mailbags, #NFL, #NBA. Wanted to differentiate this week. Last week we just did #chat. No #chat. #NFL, #NBA. We'll answer questions on both sports today. So go ahead and load those up. And if you're ready to go, like this video. Let's have some fun on today's show for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. Chase and I are ready to rock and roll. Also leading you guys up to Thursday Night Football. It's a big game in the NFC East early on here. Giants and Washington.
I know it's week 2, but it's a massive week 2 game between the Giants and the Washington football team. Both started the season with losses. You go to 0-2, and already that chatter of the hot seat, panic mode, it starts and it begins.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So like this video, help us out, and we'll go ahead and jump on into the show, starting off with the 5 at 5. Welcome into Any Given Thursday, Episode 2. Today's show is presented by Magic Spoon, and you can get $5 off at magicspoon.com/chat. The best cereal, it's healthy, it's delicious. Get rid of that main brand stuff that you're buying from the store because that stuff is really fattening and bad for you. Magic Spoon is not. magicspoon.com/chat. Get $5 off at checkout. All right, it's time for the 5 at 5, how we start every single show here on Thursday. Harrison Graham, Chase Sr., and today the topic, Chase, is the 5 best NFL Big Threes in history, because kind of a hot topic right now. Kendrick Perkins and others threw out, hey, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, best Big Three ever. So we thought we'd break down our best Big Threes.
We're going to break down our own Big Threes, and I don't have that Big Three from KC on my top 5. I think that was a bad take. We'll explore that here coming up in just a second.
Is it the best Big Three in history? We'll discuss once we get to my list. How about that? Best Big Three in history. Get your votes in there first, and then we'll start breaking down ours. And hey, if you use #Big3, we'll flash a few comments throughout the show as well. Producer Jack is hitting the 1s and 2s, as Chase would like to say, so nothing too tough for him to handle. Best Big Three in NFL history. Use #Big3 if you want to get your Big Threes on the show. All right, Chase, let's go through your list first, and then we'll get to mine here. We'll start at number 5. Was San Francisco 49ers. How you feeling here?
2 49ers Big Threes on my top 5. Shout out to the Niner gang, because I am the host of the 49ers Report, and I'm not just putting these lists together catering to my 49ers audience, but coming in at number 5, it's the great trio of Steve Young, Ricky Watters, and Jerry Rice. I always look back to Super Bowl 29 when these guys put up just a ridiculous stat line. 49-26 thumping of the Chargers in the Super Bowl that year. Steve Young went wild. 24-36, 325 yards, 6 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Jerry Rice reeled in 10 balls for 149 yards and 3 tutties. And then Ricky Watters also ran for a touchdown as well. So that's number 5 on my list. Number 4, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. This Big Three back in the mid-90s was absolutely fabulous, and they were unbelievable. Super Bowls in 1992, 93, and 95. For a short while there, I know his career was cut short. Troy Aikman was arguably the best quarterback in the National Football League. Emmitt Smith is arguably the best running back of all time, especially if you consider the longevity to his career. And Michael Irvin was a big play waiting to happen at all times. At number 3, I'm throwing it all the way back to the 70s, to the Steel Curtain. The Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Terry Bradshaw, Harris, and Lynn Swann. So this Big Three was great as well, and they went on such a legendary run in the 70s under head coach Chuck Noll. 4 Super Bowls from 1974 to 1979. And I know that this is offensive heavy with Bradshaw, Harris, and Swann. That defense also deserves some credit. So shout out to the Steel Curtain defense, because they were just dominating people with that physical attack all throughout the 70s under Chuck Noll. And then let's focus in on my top 2. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott. Now, Jerry Rice came to this big three a little bit later because Montana and Ronnie Lott had already had a bunch of years under their belts. But when they were on the field together, you had Joe Cool, who was so cool, calm, collected under pressure, winning 4 Super Bowls throughout his illustrious career. So clutch, always just never scared of the moment. Jerry Rice, I think he's the GOAT at wide receiver. And then Ronnie Lott. If he played nowadays in the National Football League, Harrison, he'd be able to wreak havoc and play multiple positions as kind of a safety linebacker hybrid, especially with the way that defenses have changed over time. And then number 1 on my list, the haters will say I'm cheating by putting my top big 3 as Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. But the real ones know that there has not ever been a better big 3, at least in my opinion, than Kraft, Belichick, Brady. Why is that? Well, they won 6 Super Bowls together, but for me, it's really the longevity. In the most physical sport out there that stands for not for long, this dynastic run lasted for 20 years, 2 decades. So Robert Kraft buys the team in 1994. Bill Belichick is then hired in 2000. They draft Tom Brady in the 6th round. He takes over for Drew Bledsoe after he got rocked and injured. And then the rest, history. 6 Super Bowls together. I think without a doubt that is the number 1 big 3 over the course of NFL history.
So I kind of took a different approach, and we'll get to my list in a minute. And by the way, there are a few comments, and producer Jack, feel free to throw some up. Someone said, Anish says you can't put coaches in the big 3, calling you out like you thought they would.
Hey, the real ones know.
Hey, the real ones know. There's no doubt about that. And you guys continue to let us know who your favorite big 3 in NFL history is as well, but it should be interesting to see what you guys are saying down in the comment section. By the way, if you like this type of content, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here, and we'll continue to bring you these fun type of lists here on any given Thursday. By the way, got to shout out Magic Spoon, today's sponsor. We told you off the top of the show that Magic Spoon is fantastic, and here's why. Chase, I know you're a huge fan of it. 13 to 14 grams of protein per serving, only 4 grams of net carbs, and the best part about this, 0 grams of sugar. It tastes fantastic. It tastes like the stuff you guys have been eating since you were a kid, but after a while, that cereal you buy at the store, it just catches up. It really does. Your metabolisms aren't as strong as you get older, and you start packing the pounds. If you want to start losing weight, Magic Spoon is the best way to do it, and you can get $5 off at magicspoon.com/chat. Get going with Magic Spoon today at that link. We'll have it in the comments. We'll have it in the description. Get $5 off with Magic Spoon cereal. Try their different flavors as well. A bunch of them are absolutely fantastic. I love the peanut butter, but you guys can go ahead and check out some of their different flavors. Okay, we're going to get into my list here momentarily, Chase. Here we go. And I took a bit of a different approach, and wrong logo at the top. That's okay. That's supposed to be a Bears logo. Walter Payton, Richard Dent, Mike Singletary. Who's Richard Dent? Well, he had 17 sacks on that 1985 team. Chase was just a guy who wrecked quarterbacks. We know about Walter Payton's sweetness. Come on, he's absolutely fantastic. Mike Singletary, the heart and soul of that defense. Wanted to give the defensive boys some love. The 85 Bears were absolutely awesome. Number 4, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and their fullback, who his first name is blanking on me, Craig. How about this for a stat? In one season, he had 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. Yeah, give the fullback some love, baby. He played running back later in his career, but back in the day, he was absolutely fantastic. Number 3, I didn't go Kraft. I didn't go, owner with like Chase did. But and Randy Moss wasn't there for the whole dynasty, but for the couple years he was, the duo of Tom Brady to Randy Moss was fantastic. I know they didn't win a Super Bowl, but in 2007, that team was absolutely electric. I still think it's the best team I've ever seen, even though they didn't win it all. Then we'll get to the top 2. Come on, the triplets, Emmitt, Aikman, Irvin. that was electric. I mean, they won 3 Super Bowls. They did a lot together. They were a lot of fun to watch. Troy Aikman, I think one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks ever because they ran the football behind a dominant offensive line. Michael Irvin might have been crazy, but he was an elite wide receiver, and he's a decent actor as well. Go watch The Longest Yard. First Take, not so much, but catching touchdowns, he's fantastic. And then number 1 on the list, you know what? Maybe I'm caught in the moment. Maybe I'm,
I think you are.
Some recency bias. In terms of pure production, though, I don't think it's even close. The trio of Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, from a pure on-the-field production standpoint, this is as electric of a group as we've ever seen. I just, they don't have the titles yet, although they do have one. And, they're probably going to win some more. I just think what this trio has done, it's impressive. Maybe I'm being biased because I host the Chiefs Report here at Chat Sports Chase. But you know what? It's a lot of fun, and I think they're the most entertaining trio in NFL history.
So you tried to find a flaw in my big 3 with having Belichick, Kraft, and Brady.
I had Belichick.
But I find a flaw in your argument for having Mahomes, Hill, and Kelce at number 1 because my Patriots trio won 6 Super Bowls.
Hey,
Mahomes, Hill, and
true.
Kelce have only won 1, and I think before it's all said and done, they're not going to win 6.
Maybe not.
20 years to a couple so far.
Hey, man.
That's why I have Patriots number 1.
We both had flaws on our list. Recency bias is real. It absolutely happens. But, hey, it's fun. This is what this show's about. We're going to disagree at times, and it's all going to be good at the end of the day. Like we said, subscribe if you want more content like this, youtube.com/chatsportstv. The 5 at 5 will air live every single Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure you guys subscribe and join us as we are just getting our brand new show underway here at Chat Sports. Before we wrap up this segment, whose top 5 is better? I think we both had some flaws. Both had some good ones. Type H for Harrison. Type C for Chase. Let us know.
The real answer is C.
Let us know down in the comments. The real ones know. Executive producer Sam says C, but I think he needs to get back to work. H for Harrison, C for Chase. We can get some shout-outs here, and we can flash through some comments as well if there's any good ones coming through. Let's see. L2 says Chase. Then he said H, so I don't know if he's confused.
He likes both of them.
He's going back and forth. Type B for both. They're both good lists. And remember, you guys continue to get your lists in here. Ooh, here's a fun modern one from Nick Fury, who was active in the comments last week. Shout out to you. Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch, and Doug Baldwin. See, I think you'd have to go like Russ, Richard Sherman, and Bobby Wagner, right?
I think the defense was the calling card for those Seattle teams.
Yeah. I think so. But offensive-wise, those probably would be the 3 guys you would pick. Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. From a fantasy football point,
they were lighting it up. Yeah.
They were lighting it up. I think there was too much chaos going on.
Rings.
But that's a good modern trio, though. I mean, they put up some big numbers. Appreciate the comment, Evan. MA3 here says Peyton, Von Miller, and Chris Harris. Peyton, okay. I don't know if that's enough, what do you think on that one?
I don't think Chris Harris does it. I just don't think he was
I think
enough.
It's got to be like Peyton, Demaryius Thomas.
Demaryius Thomas is
Miller.
the name that I would put in there.
Yeah. I think so. The King has a super chat, by the way. Another Seahawks fan.
We got to drink to that.
Oh, a little fantasy question. All right. Should I start Antonio Brown or Mike Evans in PPR? Evans is better, but I'm afraid he will get double teamed again. Thoughts? Based on week 1, AB's the play.
AB's definitely
This
the
feels
play.
like a Mike Evans bounce back week after the Cowboys focused on shutting him down. I think the Bucs are going to murder the Falcons, by the way.
It's hard to play anybody from the Bucs in fantasy
They could all
because
go
any
off.
given week, somebody can go off.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, any given Thursday. Hey, somebody can go off Thursday night football, Sunday night football. But for real, you just don't know who's going to go in or be part of the game plan and be that main focus every week.
I know. Appreciate all the questions. Appreciate you guys getting your votes in on C or H as well. How about vote on this also? Thursday night football just about 3 hours away. It's a big one. A pair of 0-1 NFC East teams. No Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's on IR for Washington. Big game for Daniel Jones and that Giants offense. If you think the G-men are going to win, type NYG. If you think Washington's going to type WAS. By the way, we got to cheers that super
I
chat.
did already. I'll do it again.
I'm
Hell yeah.
behind here.
Keep those super chats rolling.
Appreciate you guys. NYG for the Giants. WAS for the Washington football team. Get us some shout-outs here, Chase. What are the people saying?
Yeah, the people are saying L2_Clouds going with Washington, SM going with the Washington football team as well. Elio, Washington. Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback from SM.
Ouch.
Sam, Washington. That's a shot at Marshall Green.
Would you go sign Cam Newton if you were the Giants, if they lay an egg tonight?
I'm a believer in Daniel Jones. He's just never had any protection at the offensive line, and I think because of that, his confidence has been battered over time.
Yeah, he's got the tools. It's just, the untimely turnovers have really hurt him.
Inopportune times, totally.
Jacob going with Washington, JW as well. One more verbal shout-out on Big 3 from Evan. Eli Manning, Cruz, Victor Cruz, and then Jason Pierre-Paul.
I like that.
That's an interesting one. It's kind of an under-the-radar one. I think that's Marshall Green's burner account, by the way. So appreciate you guys weighing in on that. Speaking of the NFL, we're going to update you guys on the Chat Sports standings coming up shortly, and then we will take a look at our Week 2 picks for the entire Chat Sports office. So once Chase is ready to go over there, we'll go ahead and pop into that. NYG for the Giants, WAS for the Washington football team, and continue to let us know who you guys got winning on Thursday Night Football, which is just a couple of hours away. You good, Chase?
I'm good. I'm
good.
Get
some work done? Okay, here we go. So let's get into our Week 2 picks for the NFL against the spread coming up right now. Week 2 NFL picks against the spread here on any given Thursday. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. And the way we're doing this is every week, the entire Chat Sports office submits their 5 picks. We'll flash all of them, and then we'll update the standings each week. So, Chase, take us through the standings here. Some people did good. Some people did not. Let's see how it turned out in Week 1.
It's betting. There's a reason why if you're hitting on 51% of your bets, you're making your money back, but the majority of people do not hit on 51% of their bets. You know who hit? A couple of these guys right here. Matthew Peterson went 4-1. Shout out to him. Thomas Mott went 4-1. I actually did go 4-1. That's a mistake because I had Niners -7.5 on Thursday, then the line closed.
We're gonna have to double check that.
So yes, we'll double check that, and we'll get back to that. Jack Lauderay, producer for today's show, went 3-2. Jeremy Beadling, also a producer here at Chat Sports, went 3-2. Those are very respectable records, and we had a lot
60%.
of 3-2s on the board. Marshall Green, Mitchell Renz, R.C. Maxfield, Tom Downey, and then from there, a steep downward trajectory. COO Brett Scott, 1-4. The boss man James Yoder, 1-4 as well. And then Sam Brown going 1-4. But Harrison Graham, Jeffrey Cooperstein, and Trace Gerard, 0-5. It's a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. Oh, my God. Hey, 5-1 in college. 5-1 in college last week.
So it evens up, right?
Here's what's funny. I didn't actually place my bets with our sportsbook partner BetUS on the NFL last week, but I did on college. So I made money. I'm just losing in the standings. But, it is what it is. It's ugly. 0-5. I've got a big hole to climb out of.
Just like
here.
Mike Evans, it's the bounce back week this week.
We're going 5-0. It's comeback season, baby. So those are the standings right now. This is a good question that producer Jack cooked up. What should punishments be for 0-5 weeks moving forward? It's week 1. We're giving everyone a pass the first week, but moving forward, we got to come up with a punishment here on the show. So if you guys have any good ideas, get in the comments and let us know what should punishments be for anyone that goes 0-5 here at the Chat Sports office. And all right, let's go through our picks. We'll take a few minutes on Chase and I's pick, and then we'll go rapid fire for the rest of the office. So here's how I'm feeling. Bounce back week. We're going 5-0. Bengals at the Bears, over 45. Bears secondary struggled. Bengals wide receivers feasted. This feels like a high-scoring game because the Bears offense, Chase, honestly was not that bad in week 1.
Yeah,
they just didn't
wasn't
finish.
Terrible.
Shouldn't finish drives. Against the Bengals defense compared to the Rams, I think you finish a couple more of those. I love the over 45 there in week 1. Steelers -5.5 versus the Rams. Is that the right line, by the way? Is that correct?
It's Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
Steelers play the Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Against it's supposed to be LVR. Okay, there we go. Steelers -5.5 against the Raiders. I love Pittsburgh in this game. I think they get it done in that one. Sorry about that error there. Saints -3 at Carolina. This feels like easy money to me. Now, is this going to be the Jameis 3-interception game? Like after 5 touchdowns.
Everybody's hyping up New Orleans. I think they could come down to earth, but also this is always a good matchup in the NFC South, and I think Carolina is one of those teams.
They're sneaky.
It's going to be better than what people had expected going into this year.
I'm riding Jameis this week. Hopefully he doesn't let me down. Atlanta, Tampa, 52 is a lot in the NFL. I don't know if Atlanta can score a lot. I know the Bucs can, but
scored 6 points in week 1.
Maybe they shut it down after halftime in a big lead. I like the under in this game. I think Atlanta plays a little better on both sides of the ball. Chiefs -4 at Baltimore. Chiefs haven't been great against the spread, but Baltimore's beat up, man. Ronnie Stanley's out. They've got no running backs left. Marcus Peters is done. This wide receiver core for Kansas City, and of course Travis Kelce, should get loose early and often. I like Kansas City on the road. Plus, they own the Baltimore Ravens. So those are my 5 picks. Let's transition over to yours.
Yeah, they have in recent history. It's been KC over Baltimore the last couple of years, although that Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson rivalry is pretty good. So I go with a similar game and the same game, Bengals-Chicago, but I'm going with the line here.
Okay.
So I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be one of those teams, along with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals. They exceed expectations, and they're sneaky good this year. And I know the latter of those teams, Arizona, finished last year 8-8, but they certainly faltered down the stretch.
Yep.
I was very impressed with what Joe Burrow did coming off the torn ACL and MCL last week against a pretty solid Minnesota Vikings team. I think they cover on the road against Chicago. I just don't think a lot of people are respecting Cincinnati, and that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow dynamic seems to be very good. And then you have T. Higgins and a couple of other really good weapons on that team as well. I went with the Eagles +3.5 against Atlanta in week 1. Runaway winners, winning that game 32-6. I like this game based solely on value. This is the 49ers' second straight road game. They did stay on the East Coast after playing Detroit last week. They stayed in West Virginia, but they had the Green Bay Packers next week on Sunday Night Football. So I think this could be a trap game. Plus, a lot of injuries for San Francisco this week. Jason Verrett, Raheem Mostert, Dre Greenlaw, all out. Greenlaw out for 4 to 6 weeks. The prior 2 guys, they're out for the season. I also like the Cardinals against the Vikings. Giving 4 to Minnesota. Kyler Murray did some things last week, Harrison. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, he made some plays that I've really never seen. He looked like Johnny Manziel did at the pro level with what Johnny Manziel did against Alabama. Like, he was that good with how he threw touch on the football and extended plays in the backfield with his legs. He was great. I think he could be a sneaky MVP candidate if you want to look at future MVP odds. Chargers -3 versus Dallas. Cowboys going to be without DeMarcus Lawrence because of that foot injury. The Chargers go on the road against what I believe to be one of the best defenses in the league last week in the Washington football team, and Justin Herbert looked great. And as 3-point favorites at home against Dallas, I really like that number. I also like this number, Rams -4 against Indy. I'm a believer in the Indianapolis Colts.
Brutal schedule to
Just
start.
not right now. Brutal schedule to start. You start at home against a very good Seattle Seahawks team with a revived offense, and Russell Wilson looked great. And then you stay at home, but then you have to take on the Rams. I was very impressed with how Sean McVay utilized Matthew Stafford in that game.
Yep.
Also, the run game, even without Cam Akers, is
Especially in
one
the
of
second half.
Sean McVay's fortes. And I think they're going to be able to survive. I think the running back position is expendable. Give me the Rams with that -4 number.
So those are our picks, my picks, and Chase. Chase has a 4-game lead on me, so we got some catching up to do. Shout out your favorite team, and then we're going to go rapid fire here in just a few moments on the rest of the Chat Sports office and their picks. Shout out your favorite team. Let us know who you guys are repping throughout the NFL season. And if you want to bet on or against your favorite team, maybe you're a Jags fan, go to one place, and that is BetUS. But you got to use our link below because we got some great deals for you. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code CHAT125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. You put down $100, you're going to get $125 for free. And here's the deal. If you place a bet on one of your favorite teams before the end of week 2, so before Monday Night Football comes to an end, after you follow those steps, email us, jersey@chatsports.com, and we'll be able to hook you guys up with a jersey from your favorite team. Lots of different ones are available, not just the ones we're flashing on screen. Email us, jersey@chatsports.com to redeem. Take advantage of the deal right now. After you go to BetUS, chatsports.com/bet, use the promo code chat125, place a bet on any game for any amount, and then you can email us, jersey@chatsports.com. All right, Chase, let's go rapid fire. What's Brett Scott doing this week?
Yeah, Brett likes the under in the Cowboys-Chargers game at 55.5. He also likes the Saints -3 at Carolina, Cardinals -3.5 against Minnesota. That number changing depending on which sports book you look at. Raiders +5.5 on the road coming off that big win against the Ravens at Pittsburgh, and then the under for Rams-Indy at 48.
Boss man James Yoder, both our bosses there. He's with me. He's like Saints -3. The over in the Detroit-Green Bay game, 48.5. I could see that. This feels like a Rodgers clinic after a Week 1 egg. And then Detroit can at least score some points. They're not going to stop anybody, but I think they'll be able to score some points this year. The over in the Dallas Chargers game, 55.5, man. That Dallas team is starting to get some injuries. DeMarcus Lawrence, Justin Herbert should have a field day. Raiders +5.5 at Pittsburgh. I'm on the opposite end of that. And then Tampa Bay -12.5 versus Atlanta. That's just a high number, man, but he's rolling with Tom Brady.
Tom Downey, 3-2 last week. He's our football connoisseur and draft expert here at Chat Sports. Has the Niners -3 in Philly. The Patriots as near touchdown favorites against the Jets. Rookie showdown between Mac Jones and Zach Wilson.
That'll be a fun one. Yeah.
Bengals +2.5 at Chicago. He's with me on that. That's one of my favorite bets of the week. Rams -4 at Indy. So maybe Tom is just copying me at this point. And then Packers -11 against the Lions. I kind of like Green Bay to cover that large spread.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to bounce back.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt there. Mitchell Renz, who's also 3-2. He likes the Rams at the Colts -4. Cardinals -4. Again, it's fluctuating between 3.5 and 4. Depending on when our office got their picks in, that could have moved half a point. The under in the Jets-Patriots game, I could totally see that. He's got the under in the Titans-Seahawks game. I almost took that one. 54 is huge.
It is
and those
a
are
big number.
Competent football teams. I know the Titans laid an egg last week,
it's hefty.
but I think they'll bounce back and play better. And then the over, Chiefs versus Baltimore. Most people take the over in Chiefs games. It usually doesn't happen, though. Last week it did, but last year, under was the play, usually for Kansas City. Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports because we're going to give you the betting odds of every single game, every single week here on this show. So subscribe, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. We'll try to give you guys the betting edge week in and week out here at Chat Sports. So hit that big red button. Also, if you love just the NFL as a whole, we cover the latest news, rumors, do some game previews. It's a whole lot of fun. Okay, producer Jack Lotteray.
So producer Jack, this is his first time ever betting on football. He was dragging himself through the mud saying, I did terrible. He went 3-2 for his first week betting.
Making money.
Pat yourself on the back, Jackie L. Come on now. You didn't take too many L's. Patriots -6 at the Jets. Steelers -5.5 at home against the Raiders. He has the Niners -3 against Philly. I don't like it. Cardinals -4 against the Vikings. And then the over in KC Baltimore.
Shootout.
Those games sometimes are always shootouts.
Could be a lot of fun. Jeremy Chuggs, Beedling's his last name, but we don't call him that. Eagles +3 against the Niners. The over in that KC Baltimore game is very popular. I can't wait for the under to hit. You watch. Raiders at Steelers. He likes Vegas in that one. Cardinals 3.5. Shout out to the folks who got the Cardinals at 3.5 there. And then Dallas Chargers over 55.5.
My guy Marshall Green, also 3-2 last week. He's chipped now, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. Niners -3 against the Eagles. Chiefs -4 against the Ravens. Bills -3.5 against the Dolphins. Broncos -6 against the Jaguars. Kind of a decent line. I think the Jags are just really bad.
That's a
and then
weird
he's with
line,
me. Cardinals
man.
-4
I
against
wanted
the
to take the
Vikings.
Broncos, but I just don't know what the hell is going to happen in that game, so I steered clear. 3-2. He's going 5-0, he says. RC Maxfield, a lot of 3-2s this week. He likes the Steelers -5.5. And by the way, as we're going through these, shout out your favorite team. Get your picks of the weekend. We love to read them here on the show. Chiefs -4 at Baltimore. Rams -4 at Indy. Bucks -12.5. I couldn't do it, man. And then the Patriots -6 at the Jets. That's a big game, too. Both 0-1 teams. You don't want to start 0-2 in the NFL. Less than 10% of teams make the playoffs when they start 0-2. Hey, let us know. We got a few more office members to go through here when it comes to their picks. Have you bet on the NFL before? Simple Y for yes, simple N for no. If you haven't, Slide and Chaser Eyes DMs, HGram
We'll
NFL on
out.
Twitter, Chase_Senior on Twitter. We'll help you out. We'll help you get going with BetUS. They got the best deal in the game, chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. Even if you're a beginner like producer Jack, you can be making money right away. So let us know why for yes, in for no, and then if you need help getting started, hit one of us up. Matthew Peterson, -3.5 for the Cardinals over Minnesota. The over in the Bills-Dolphins game.
He was all over the over-unders this
He
week.
went 4-1 last week.
Yeah.
He's doing something right. 49ers, Eagles over in that Texans-Browns game as well, and then the under in the Raiders-Steelers game.
How about producer Sam, who just got elevated here at Chat Sports? He's always hyping himself up as being the betting expert here in the office.
Hey, volume.
Fade Sam Brown.
Volume.
He went 1-4 last week. He's no betting expert. Get out of here.
Working long does not.
How are you going to defend yourself?
Lock.
He's saying
He's
5
saying
locks.
all 5 locks across the board. You see him up on your screen. We'll see. And then some 0-5ers across the office. What do these guys have to do when they go 0-5? Let us know in the comment section. Should Jeffrey Cooperstein have to vacuum the entire Chat Sports studio and office? I think he should have to do that.
There's Jeffrey's picks. We'll flash Trace's picks as well.
Yeah,
And then
when you go 0-5, we can't even mention your picks the next week.
Yeah, and then let's.
That's a penalty.
Well, we'll shout out Thomas Mott here for going 4-1, one of our contributors. Bengals +3, Chargers -2.5, Chiefs -3.5, the under in the Carolina game, and then Bills -3.5. I want to ask that question one more time, Jack. The punishment for 0-5. Let's flash that back up on screen. What should it be? Because I'm off the hook for week 1. I'm not feeling good about myself. I can't go 0-5 anymore. I just can't.
You should feel okay about yourself, though, because you redeemed yourself the day before with your college picks, and you've been on fire with the college picks.
I'm 8-3 in
so
college
it's all right.
this year. We're doing all right. Let us know punishments for going 0-5. And we'll get a couple of shout-outs. Let's see if there's any good ones in here from
Buy
earlier
donuts
this
from
week.
SM. We actually do that a lot here.
But maybe we could double dip on that.
Yeah,
I
like
like
that.
Breakfast for the office. That's a good one.
solid.
I think that's a win-win for everyone.
As long as Coop doesn't get social, we're good.
Yeah, the real ones, no. Oh, Coop can't go 0-5. That's all I'm saying.
Shotgun a beer and take a shot from Alizé Pin.
Okay, I like wear a wig. That's a funny one. We have a wig up here. Let's see. Buy donuts. There's some good. Boo Sam Brown from Nick Fury. There we go. So continue to let us know what should punishments be for going 0-5. Now, Any Given Thursday goes live every single Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, myself and Chase Sr. And we're always going to do mailbags, just like any of our other live shows. So one mailbag for the NFL today, one mailbag for the NBA. So if you have NFL questions, use hashtag NFL. If you have NBA questions, use hashtag NBA. We'll answer those questions later on in the show. And speaking of the NBA, there's a lot going on with the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
They're working out a vet. Let's talk about them coming up right now. Let's talk Golden State Warriors today here on Any Given Thursday, live on Chat Sports. Harrison and Chase rolling with you. Chase, we want to explore the title chances for the Warriors later on in the video with the healthy Klay Thompson. But first, let's get to the news of the day. It looks like they're going to work out Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, Warriors working out Isaiah Thomas to possibly round out that roster. They have a couple roster spots that are up for grabs right now, and there are going to be some good competitions on this roster in NBA training camp, which starts on September 28th. Now, don't be fooled by who Isaiah Thomas is right now as compared to who he was when he had a marvelous season with the Boston Celtics several years ago when he was in the running for possibly winning MVP. Not the same player since that wonderful campaign all those years ago, and he's suffered a lot of injuries over the last several years. Last year, had a 10-day contract with New Orleans, averaged under 8 points per game. I still think, Harrison, that he can score the basketball, and maybe that's what Golden State needs. A guy who can come in off the bench.
Scoring.
At times, he's going to get DNP'd. He's not going to play a lot of defense and be effective on that end, but can he take some playmaking duties off of Steph Curry's shoulders and maybe come in as part of that second unit to run a little point, run a little two-guard alongside guys like Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, as well as Jordan Poole. I like it in that sense, and here's the thing, too. He's not going to cost that much money, and IT has been a good story. Look, he played over the summer in the Drew League. He played in a Pro-Am and dropped 81. After that 81-point performance, he was in tears in the locker room saying the NBA has given up on me, so maybe his dreams of getting back into the league are going to come to fruition and reality with Golden State. We'll see how that workout goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And like you said, he just hasn't been the guy he was in that 2016-17 season. Since that year with Boston, where he was a legit MVP candidate, I'll add. Look at the efficiency.
I mean, and 87 games in this time.
He's played in only 87 games in the last 4 full seasons. He can still score a little bit, but it requires major volume. Under 40% from the field, under 35% from 3. Is he worth being on someone's training camp roster?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Golden State is a team that makes sense because they've had depth issues the past couple of years since they were going to NBA Finals. So I would like to see him get on with a team like this with good culture, with good leadership,
I'm with you.
with a winning organization. So I hope the workout goes well. And, hey, I think it would be a decent fit to sign Isaiah Thomas and see what he can bring to the table. We'll ask you guys, should the Warriors sign Isaiah Thomas? Type S for sign, not sure why it says trade. Type P for pass. Get your votes in on this one. S for sign, P for pass, and let us know what the Warriors should do when it comes to Isaiah Thomas. We'll shift gears here after the IT news of him working out, Harrison and Chase here. Is this team a title contender with a healthy Klay Thompson? Because they didn't make the big splash in free agency or via a trade to go get, a big 3 type of piece like a Bradley Beal or Dame or someone like that. But if Klay can come back healthy, which he's progressing nicely, can this team compete in the Western Conference for a run at the finals?
I'm not sure what your standing is on this, but for me, I do think the Warriors can get back to title contention, but only if Klay Thompson is able to stay healthy. And I think everything hinges on the health of Klay. And for him, it's been great. The development coming off that torn Achilles last year and the torn ACL in the NBA Finals back in 2019, that progress, that recovery seems to be coming along at a steady clip. And there were some reports several weeks ago about maybe the Warriors targeting around a Christmas Day return for Klay Thompson. Okay. That'd be great. You can't rush an injury like this coming off an Achilles, which I think is the worst injury that any athlete can suffer. Plus, he's coming off an Achilles and a torn ACL. You look at the career numbers, Harrison, and when this guy is right, not only has he shown and proven to be one of the best and most elite marksmen from deep that we've ever seen, because the shooting stroke is just great, but also what people sleep on, I think, is his defensive ability. Klay Thompson, when he was right, Harrison, was one of the best defenders across the NBA.
And I think, and let's discuss this a little bit further here, I think for Klay Thompson that I don't worry about him fitting back in offensively. You don't lose your jump shot. I think he'll be fine on that end. And he's never been like an explosion type of player. He's not putting the ball down and getting to the rack. He's a catch and shoot guy. That's what he is. What I have concerns about and what makes him a great player is how good he is defensively. I have major concerns and reservations about his ability to come back and be a legitimate 3-and-D guy. The 3, no concerns. Can he lock down dudes defensively after not playing for 2 years, and now he's, around 30, 31 years old?
Like, we were talking about him sticking the Kevin Durant's of the world, the LeBron Jameses, like elite players across the NBA. Klay Thompson was a lockdown defender.
And I just, I just have to assume some of that is going to slip. Now, if he's 85% of what he was, it's still a really good player.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a bit naive to assume he's the exact same player he was prior to the injury. If he is, though, if Klay is healthy, can the Warriors win a championship? We'll ask you guys, and we'll discuss here as well. Why for yes and for no. If he's the exact same Klay, I think the answer is yes, because I think it's twofold. Number one, I think it makes Draymond more effectively again because the floor is spaced so much better offensively. And number two, you're plugging in a 20-point, 42% from 3 guy. So, I mean, obviously, that makes a big difference.
And you make a good point there in mentioning Draymond Green, because it's not just Klay Thompson. Now, I think that the Warriors' title chances hinge on a healthy Klay because of how integral he is to that Warriors lineup. But look elsewhere on this roster. Steph Curry last year, in his age 33 season, had one of the best offensive stretches that we have ever seen in the history of basketball after the All-Star break, when he was averaging 30, 40-point games for like a month. He was great. And I think that Steph Curry still has a lot of gas left in the tank if those ankle injuries don't resurface. So you still have Steph Curry playing at an MVP level. I think he's a top 5 player in the NBA right now. I think Klay Thompson, Harrison, you make a good point in saying it helps Draymond Green because you don't need to expect so much from Draymond, and he can stick to being one of the the best defenders in the league. But Andrew Wiggins also played very well last year. I like the rookie potential impact of a Jonathan Kuminga as well as a Moses Moody. Like, this is a legitimate starting five, and the bench is also pretty good, too.
Yeah, I just like the idea of Draymond getting back to being that point forward and not feeling like he has to score, because he's not a scorer.
He's not a scorer.
He's not a scorer.
He can't shoot anymore.
Can't shoot.
Ben Simmons got into his head.
And,
I don't know.
That offense kind of became Sixers-esque in the playoffs, where it was like just pack the paint on Draymond.
Yeah.
It just became a huge hole offensively. You plug in a sniper like Clay, that changes things. That really opens up the offense, who, as this guy has been one of the elite marksmen, not just of his generation, but of the entire history of the NBA. This is, I won't call him Reggie Miller, but he's damn close. I mean, he's that kind of a floor spacer and shooter, and he's been a 21.5-point guy with 42% from three for most of his career.
And here's the crazy thing, too, and why I like the Warriors roster construction. Klay Thompson doesn't need to dribble the basketball in order for him to be effective. He can be a catch and shoot. He can be like a couple dribble pull-up guy. He's not going to hit you with a step back, but around the three-point arc, he is going to be a marksman, an elite one at that. So you can still have the playmaking and the creation of a Steph Curry. Draymond Green can still run point forward. Andrew Wiggins can give you elite defensive minutes and also get it done offensively as a slasher and an occasional spotty three-point shooter as well. The starting five, I really like it, and I think the Western Conference is wide open. Los Angeles is very old. Is Jamal Murray going to be able to come back? The Blazers are down. They're the same team they were last year.
Yep.
I like the Joker, but again, that hinges on Jamal Murray's status. Are the Phoenix Suns going to be able to run it back? Like, the Western Conference is so wide open right now, as evidenced by the odds to win the Western Conference this upcoming season. And a reason we're talking about the Warriors potentially winning a championship, they're second in odds at 5-1.
Yeah, Vegas knows, baby.
Yeah.
Vegas absolutely knows. I do think it's fair to say the Lakers are the team to beat right now, but they're older. Maybe injuries pop up. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But a healthy Klay Thompson absolutely changes everything in the Western Conference. Who do you guys think is the best team out west? It's loaded once again here in 2021, 2022. The season's almost here. Training camp in a couple of weeks, and then I think opening night's October 21st. That's
The 17th, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's coming up.
About a month away.
Very quick.
It's coming up quick. Best team in the West. Maybe you think it's the Warriors. Maybe you think it's someone else. Let us know. Also, hit that subscribe button if you are on our Warriors channel watching this. If you're watching live on Chat Sports any given Thursday, we talk about a ton of different teams because we have a ton of different channels, number one, including a Golden State Warriors channel. Go check it out. It's youtube.com/WarriorsTV. We're just a couple hours away from Thursday night football, about 2.5 hours. So who you got? Giants, Washington. Type NYG for the Giants. Type WAS for the Washington football team. Who you got? I don't think we gave our picks last time.
I like Washington. And it's solely based on Washington's defensive line, which I think is top 5 in the league, against the Giants' offensive line. They cannot protect at all, and because they have a porous offensive line, they're not opening up running lanes for their running backs and Saquon Barkley, who isn't even 100%. So I think I go Washington, even though they're starting Taylor Heineke.
And he's questionable. Is he playing, Marsh? Is Saquon playing? Do we even know?
Yeah,
he's
questionable. That's all I know.
He's questionable. I bet he gives it a go.
He is playing. Yeah.
Man, it's not looking great. Billy Price is having to start tonight. That ain't it.
That ain't it.
That ain't it whatsoever. So, NYG, we got some G-mans coming in from Tricky Nicky. That's Nicky with a K-N, by the way. Gary Harris, no relation, going with the Giants as well. Tricky Nicky going, Daniel Jones going to show out this week. Big game for Daniel Jones, bigger game for Jason Garrett.
Yes. If the Giants' offense flatlines, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Joe Judge is like, yo, Jason Garrett,
we'll see
I didn't hire you as OC. That's at least my read on it. You're out.
No, he did. Didn't he, though? I think he did.
I don't know. Did he?
Marsh, did Joe Judge hire Jason Garrett? I'm pretty sure he did.
If so, bad hire.
That's a bad hire. Whoever hired him.
Up to the fact that if he did hire him, you should get rid of him if they, put up a goose egg today.
Dude, that's just bad. Marquise going with Washington. By the way, Kadarius Toney, 2 touches last week, both on jet sweeps, -6 total yards. Just throw him the ball. Let's just
I think he could be a bust.
Humble says Washington. SM says Washington. Nick Fury says Washington as well. Mocha's going with Washington. Seeing some hashtag NBA, some hashtag NFL. Continue to pump that in because we're going to do some mailbags here. And coming up soon, I think next right now, actually. Here we go. Hashtag NFL or Super Chat to get your NFL questions on the show. If you have NBA questions, you can use hashtag NBA. We'll answer those later. But Chase and I are ready to talk some football here. So hashtag NFL, or you guys can Super Chat to get your questions here on the show. So go ahead and do that right now. Today's NFL mailbag is presented by Magic Spoon. And guys, we are repping our favorite cereal. I'm a big fan of the cocoa flavor. Chase loves the peanut butter.
All about the peanut butter.
All the flavors are fantastic. And if you want to get $5 off, go to magicspoon.com/chat to get $5 off at checkout. Healthy cereal, 0 sugar, and it tastes fantastic. It's the best of both worlds. Go ahead and head over to Magic Spoon. All right, let's start with your questions here. Nick Fury 55 asks, hey guys, which 2 NFC West teams will battle to finish to win the NFC West? Where will they stand in the playoffs, and how far into the playoffs will they get? Kind of a 3-parter here. How about we just tier out the NFC West and let them know which teams make the playoffs?
Is it possible to tier it out? This division is that loaded.
All
it is
4
a straight
could make
up
the
gauntlet.
playoffs. I don't think they all will, but I bet 3 will.
I think
bet
3 are going to
of the
make
4
it.
will.
Yeah, I think 3 are going to make it because 2 won't make it from the NFC East, so that opens up another
North
opportunity.
looks weak early.
Which team looked the best in Week 1? That's what we have the sample size to base off
I'd say
right
Arizona blowing out Tennessee on the road was the most impressive win.
now. Most impressive win across the National Football League. Matthew Stafford looked really good with
looked
Sean
really
McVay. Russell Wilson in that new offense in Seattle. I think they're going to throw the football a ton. Shane Waldron doing a great job already. And I like Russ. He's never won less than 9 games in a season. If anything, I'm the most concerned about the Niners because already the injuries are surfacing.
The injuries are piling up. They dominated for 3 quarters, took their foot off the gas in the 4th, but injuries are piling up.
Classic Shanahan.
Nick, I don't know if that answered your question, but just know
it's a tough question.
It's going to be It's going to be a war every week in the NFC West. SM here, who is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? This is a good question. Gosh, if I'm basing it solely off Week 1, which obviously you can't do that, but let's just kind of think of the guys who stood out in Week 1. Mac Jones played really well, 289 and a touchdown, no turnovers. Zach Wilson came on late. I don't
think he has enough of a offensive supporting cast.
And
to
if you
win.
go like 2-15, can you win Rookie of the Year? Because that's very possible.
You know what a sneaky one is for me? It's Devontae Smith because I think already he's the number one wide receiver on the Eagles, and you were able to see his potential flash in Week 1 against the Falcons. Touchdown, more than 70 yards receiving. He's going to be a big component of that offense.
I still think if Justin Fields gets in there before Week 5, he's got a shot.
He does, especially if they win games.
Because I think that team is capable of winning some games. Where a lot of these other rookies, especially the quarterbacks, outside of Mac Jones, which of these teams are winning? I don't think Trey Lance will play enough.
I don't think so either.
So I just, I think Fields is kind of the wild card if he gets in there pretty soon. Boba Fett Jr., will Richard Sherman ever have the chance to play in the NFL again? Oh, he'll have a chance. The question is, A, is he in a state of mind where he's ready to play football? And B, are teams going to sign him mid-season? We know the Niners have some interest.
Yeah, so, I host the 49ers Report here at Chat Sports, and there have been conversations between the 49ers and Richard Sherman. They are interested in pairing back up because Sherman was there from 2018 through 2020.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Sherman has 5 misdemeanor charges against him, so the legal situation has to play out. Also, I kind of got the read that Sherman would like to get back into playing shape and potentially come back later in the year because it's now a 17-game schedule and basically see what happens in that 49ers secondary. If they continue to play poorly, if they continue to suffer injuries, then maybe Sherman comes back.
Well, and he may wait until mid-season, get into shape, stay in shape, and see what teams are actually contending.
Yeah.
What he doesn't want to do is sign with the Niners and then they're 3-5
and
or
they
something
tank.
like that. He wants to play for a winner, which is what he said all offseason, even before the legal issues came up. So I do think he'll play again, Boba. I just think it's going to be a matter of time to let it play out. So what do you guys think? Will Richard Sherman play in the NFL again? I say yes. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. You saying yes?
I don't think we've seen the last of Sherman.
Yeah, I agree with that. So get your votes in and let us know. Alizai Penn, will the Cowboys run the ball more with Zeke against the Chargers? I think they will.
I don't think so.
I think they will a little bit more. You guys have to realize this is what excites people about Kellen Moore in the National Football League is he understands what team's strengths and weaknesses are. The Bucs have been the best rush defense in the NFL for 2 years running. So why are you going to run inside zone and get your teeth kicked in by Devin White and Levante David when you can just use the short passing game?
Especially when Vita Vea is just eating up.
As an extension of the run game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Zeke's getting 23 carries this week, but will they run it more? Yeah, 8 to 10% more, I bet, in the playbook. But make no mistake, this is a Dak Prescott-centric offense.
Yes,
and it has been for about
strength.
2.5 years now because he's become, I think, an elite quarterback at this point, and the weapons they have on the outside are too good to not utilize, even without Michael Gallup. So maybe a little more, but I just don't think the days of Zeke being the focal point are here anymore.
You also made a good point last week when we were chopping it up talking ball, is that the short pass game last week against the Buccaneers was an extension of the run game.
How many
and that's
wide
how you have to
receiver
look at it,
screens
too.
did they run? 10, 12? I mean, they're going to do a lot of that. And by the way, even if you're not running it with Zeke, he's great as a receiver, and he's even better in pass protection. I mean, the guy picks up blocks unlike any running back I've ever seen. He's fantastic at it. Here we go. Gary Harris. Should the Giants fire Jason Garrett and promote Freddie Kitchens? If the Giants lay an egg at Washington and score less than 10 points, it would not shock me if he gets fired.
Look, and I know so many people like to rip and drag Freddie Kitchens, but when he was the offensive coordinator a couple years ago with Cleveland, he was actually a decent play caller. Now, he was in over his head as a head coach. He should not have been named a head coach. That's a position that he should probably never, ever have because he didn't look ready, he didn't look prepared, and the offensive game plans every week were a shit show. But I do think that he might be able to give you a better edge than a guy like Jason Garrett, who is just way too conservative with where rule changes are in the NFL nowadays, but also where NFL offenses are and should be.
The flash here, should I be worried about the 49ers after their crumble in the fourth against the Lions? I'll let you take this one, but real quick, I'm not worried. I'm more worried about the injuries than I am of one bad quarter.
Yeah, so this is one of those arguments and one of those conversations where two things can be true, right? Kyle Shanahan has blown a lot of big leads. Offensive coordinator with the Falcons when they lost that 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl to the Patriots. He was the head coach of the 49ers when they lost a 21-10 fourth quarter lead against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So he has the tendency to keep his foot off the gas. And he doesn't just keep the pedal to the metal. But when you're up 38-10 in week one, and you suffer an injury to your top cornerback, you know what you're doing defensively, schematically? Play and prevent defense. And you keep everything from the opposing offense in front of you. And I think the Niners did a lot of that, and that's why the Lions were able to come back. So I'm not concerned about the defense. I am concerned about the injuries.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Are the 49ers playoff contenders? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let us know. Do you think they are? I definitely think they're absolutely contenders. What's absolutely a fact is how good and healthy Magic Spoon cereal is, and you guys should pick some up because if Chase and I are eating it, trust me, it's the way to go. MagicSpoon.com/chat. Get $5 off your first order. They have natural flavors. It's keto-free, gluten-friendly. It's absolutely fantastic. 13 grams of protein per serving, 0 grams of sugar. This stuff tastes like the stuff you've been eating your whole life. You know, the mainstream brand you buy at the grocery store, Chase. Except it's actually good for you. So it's the best of both worlds.
And what's wild is when you compare the ingredients, it's not even close. For instance, the traditional peanut butter brand that I have in my hand right now, for Magic Spoon. 14 grams of protein, 4 grams of net carbs, 0 grams of sugar. It's grain-free and it's gluten-free. The Reese's brand, 2 grams of protein to 14, 26 grams of net carbs to 4, 11 grams of sugar to 0. That should tell you everything that you need to know to hop on board the Magic Spoon train.
So get $5 off, magicspoon.com/chat. Get $5 off today.
Yes, sir.
You guys can get going with Magic Spoon
I used to be fat eating bad cereal. Now I've slimmed down because I'm eating good cereal, and it's Magic Spoon cereal. Facts.
Beautiful. Let's get to some more of your questions here. NFL, who would you start week 2 in PPR? Devontae Smith or Clyde Edwards? Devontae Smith. In PPR, that's not even a question.
Devontae Smith.
If it's not in PTR, maybe I go the running back, but in PPR, I think it's almost always going to be a receiver.
Especially going up against a 49er secondary that's dealing with injuries.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's see. Marcus Robertson. Appreciate that super chat, by the way. Chase and Harrison, who do you guys think in the Super Bowl next season? So not this season, next season. Well, I'll just go with the Chiefs in the AFC, and then
Let me go with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. I'll go opposite of you. Okay. I don't think they're going to win it this year, but maybe next year is the year.
I'm not going to go Packers.
I like the
NFC.
Ravens too.
Oh, gosh. NFC next year, because I'm not going to go Bucs a year from now.
Rams.
Ooh.
Niners with Trey Lance.
That's a good one. Ooh.
Eagles with Jalen Hurts.
I'll go Niners. I'll go Chiefs-Niners next year. How about that?
Rematch.
Taylor Fleming, will the Raiders make the playoffs? Mitchell Wren says yes. I say no. Listen, AFC West could be one of these sneaky divisions, man. We know the Chiefs are going to be good. I think the Chargers are good on both sides. Denver looked pretty good in week 1. Vegas beat Baltimore.
We were talking about this earlier. For me, it's all dependent on Derek Carr. If he takes a leap into being a top 10 quarterback like he was back in 2016 when he almost won the MVP before he broke his leg in half, then I think the Raiders could get back to playoff contention.
That defensive line
is nice. If Derek Carr drops off, then probably not. Max Crosby? My gosh, how incredible
Carl
was he
Nassib's
the other
a nice
night.
player.
Yeah.
The back end worries me still, but through 1 week, so far so good. Ant-Man, is Mac Jones the answer in New England? Producer Jack Lotteray, big fan of this question, big fan of Mac Jones. I think he is, man. I'm not going to call him Tom Brady, but their skill sets are actually pretty similar. The comp is there just because short passing attack, very accurate, good decision maker.
Good pocket awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I
good
think
feet.
It's a learning process, but I think that he could be the answer. Now, I do think, unlike Brady, who at times was throwing to bums like Deion Branch, I do think you're going to want to get good talent around this guy, but I do think he can be a franchise quarterback.
I'm with you.
So what do you guys think? Is he the answer? Type S for he's the savior. Type B for he's a bust. Type IDK for I don't know yet because Savior seems a little strong.
He looked pretty good in week 1. He got off to a good performance.
Looked good in the preseason. Yeah. Let's see how he fares this week against the Jets. Tricky Nicky. Have the Packers team quit on Aaron Rodgers and do they miss the playoffs?
Panic button. You're hitting it way too early.
Yeah,
I think the Packers are going to be all right.
Look, sometimes you just get your ass kicked. I know it doesn't happen much to the Rodgers, but it has happened to him before. You lose to Detroit in week 2. Let's revisit how the Packers sit so far.
No question.
But look, they're still the team to beat in the NFC North until proven otherwise.
I'm with you.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Should Dak get praised more for having to deal with Jason stuck in the past Garrett offensive mindset? I mean, Dak his entire life has exceeded expectations, so I think there's something to that.
He also got off to his start in his career, which was a very good start under Jason Garrett. So flip side to that, do you give Garrett for how he developed as a former quarterback, a rookie quarterback, to take over for Tony Romo and put the Cowboys in a position where they could have made a deep run in the playoffs? I mean, they went 13-3 with Dak and Jason Garrett.
Zeke was the best back in football as a rookie.
Offensive line was great.
That O-line was the best unit in football. That defense was actually pretty good. That's easily the best defense he's played
that they've had in a long time
in his career. Yeah. So it's hard to say, but I will say Kellen Moore has helped unleash him. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Last one on this NFL mailbag. What week will Russell Wilson break the record for most regular season wins in a quarterback first 10 season? 99 right now. The record is 105 wins. So this will be his 10th season. Like you said, he's got to win 7 more games this year.
He's
so
never won less than 9
By
games.
Week 11, is he passing that? 7
I think easy. Yeah.
7-3 over the next 10 weeks?
Yeah, I think they're already going to start off 2-0.
He'll definitely get it this year. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
But
let's say Week 5, Week 6.
Look, teams or people say QB wins are overrated. Sometimes winning's winning.
Hey,
man.
Could they get off to a 5-0, 6-0 start to get closer and closer to that number? Maybe.
Winners win, baby. That's a good question. Appreciate it, Anish. Shout out your favorite NFL team and let us know down in the comments. Rep your squad. We're always trying to figure out what fan bases are being represented on our videos. All right, let's get some shout-outs here, Chase. Let us know. Shout out your favorite team and be loud in the comments.
I see Honest Laker fan is saying Chase Senior and Harrison Graham do not want to answer my questions. They are ignoring me. We are not ignoring you. Are you using the hashtag NFL? We shouldn't be ignoring you. I'm not sure what question you're asking.
She used hashtag NFL, but she wanted to know. Here, I'll verbalize it here. Once the NBA season starts, will you guys be answering both NFL and NBA questions? It's rude to create an NFL-only chat. Well, I'll give you the benefit.
We're also doing an NBA mailbag later.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you just joined us. We are going to do an NBA mailbag here in like 20, 30 minutes or so. So stay with us. For that one, honest Laker fan, use hashtag NBA. Hashtag NBA for NBA Q&A. So don't worry, we'll get to you. Chase, why don't you get some shout-outs on the favorite teams here?
Yeah, I'm seeing Seahawks from Anish Anand, Patriots from Shelly Dahlman, Bears all day from Jackboy600. Hopefully you subscribe to Bears Now because Harrison's killing it over there. Bang Bang Niner Gang from Tony Two Toes. I love it. Go Niners. Go Hawks from Doug Wilcox. Lions from Tricky Nicky. Patriots from Shelly. Raiders from NTG Reverse. Good stuff. Continue to get your votes in.
Yeah, let us know what your favorite team is. A lot of Raider Nation in there right now. Or maybe
Raider Nation always represent. We know that.
There's something. Something.
They took Mitch's voice over the weekend.
There's no doubt about that. By the way, like the video. We're 48 likes away from 100. Come on, let's get closer to 100 here. Hit that like button. We're at 130 people watching live, so let's get to 100 likes, and that'll help us out. Get more people in the live chat. So hit that thumbs up icon, and let's get closer and closer to 100 likes. What are we doing next? I don't even
got Gordon, baby.
Baby, Josh Gordon is going to be back
Gordon,
in the NFL.
not Jeff.
We'll take a look at three teams Chase and I think that could make sense for Gordon, and just get you caught up on the latest surrounding the veteran wide receiver. Rolling along here on any given Thursday. We go live every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time here on Chat Sports. Let's talk about Josh Gordon here, who is trying to get back into the NFL. He has applied for reinstatement and most recently played with the Seattle Seahawks. Chase, it's crazy to think the amount of suspensions, the amount of in and out of the NFL he's been through the last several years. He's only 30. He's 30 years old. That's not that old.
And what a road it's been, because it's really been a rocky journey for Josh Gordon, really since he came into the league out of Baylor, where he starred and then got off to a wonderful start early in his career with the Cleveland Browns. I think when it's all said and done, regardless of how he finishes his NFL career, Josh Gordon is always going to be in that category of what if.
No doubt.
Because when he was at the peak of his powers in that second season with Cleveland, he was straight up phenomenal. He was a physically imposing beast at the wide receiver position. You take a look at what he did back in 2013 in 14 games. 159 targets in 14 games is a wild number. 87 receptions, more than 1,600 yards, and 9 touchdowns. And I thought at that time he was kind of ahead of his time with his ability to kind of catch swing passes, bubble screens, pick up a lot of yards after the catch, but he had breakaway speed. He could take the top off of the defense. And as I mentioned, 6'3", 225 pounds. He just looked like a linebacker playing wide receiver.
There was a brief moment where people wondered if this was the best receiver in the NFL.
No question. It was this season.
I know people don't remember that, but that was a real conversation that people like Chase and I were having on shows just like this. And you mentioned that rocky road. I mean, we'll just go through the timeline here. We'll just kind of sprint through this here. 2-game suspension 2013. Goes to the Pro Bowl that season. Arrested for driving under while impaired in 2014. 10-game suspension in 2014. February 2015, suspended the entire year. Failed drug test, denied reinstatement in April of 2016. 4-game suspension in July of 2016 after he was reinstated. Left the Browns to enter rehab in 2016. November of 2017, reinstated again in Week 13. Traded to the Patriots a year later in September. Suspended indefinitely again in December of that year. 2019 gets reinstated before the season, waived by the Patriots, signs with Seattle, suspended again for violating the substance policy. In 2020, he also got, I believe, reinstatement declined. His conditional reinstatement was violated. He violated that pact that he had with the NFL according to an agreement there, and then released by Seattle in March. And then has officially reinstated or applied for reinstatement actually back in July, but fast forward a couple of months, back in the headlines because he's looking to hatch on with the team.
So I've been here at Chat Sports for 6 months. I started March 1st. I have not used that many timeline graphics my entire tenure here at Chat Sports in a half year.
That's Josh Gordon
That
for you.
goes to show you the long and lengthy road for Josh Gordon. And I'm not ripping on the guy because obviously this guy has internal demons that he hasn't been able to silence. And at times he has silenced them. But in the long run, they keep creeping back. And it's really unfortunate because it's robbed us of a potentially great career.
Yep.
Hopefully he's able to end his career on a high note. NFL no longer testing for weed, so maybe that helps him out in that regard. But when you have substance issues and then you start using substances again, that's when you can go down that narrow and windy path.
So does Josh Gordon deserve another chance in the NFL? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Really simple question. I'm a big believer in second, third, and fourth chances, of course, depending on the violation. But when you're talking about a guy that his violations have mostly been self-detrimental, obviously the DUI can impact others. Other than that, though, it's been just self-detrimental.
Yes. Self-inflicted wounds.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
I certainly am a believer in second chances. So type Y for yes, type in for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. So get your votes in, and then after the YouTube ad break, we're going to go through my list and Chase's list.
I want to break down my list of my top 3 destinations for Josh Gordon. I want to start off at number 3 with the Kansas City Chiefs, a team, Harrison, you're very familiar with because you host the Kansas City Chiefs Report here at Chat Sports. Andy Reid, going back to when he started head coaching with the Philadelphia Eagles in 1999, has always taken second chances on guys. And I know we just ran through the timeline graphic. This would not be Josh Gordon's second chance. But the point is, he's willing to give chances to guys who have slip-ups. And I think the Chiefs at the wide receiver spot are a little bit more thin than they've been in previous years because Sammy Watkins signed with the Baltimore Ravens. You're relying on Mecole Hardman, who I'm not sure if he can be a bona fide number 2. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs might be able to take a chance on Josh Gordon.
Yeah, real quick, just to kind of give my 2 cents here, and we'll keep going through your list. I wouldn't hate it. I know the Chiefs are pretty adamant about giving Hardman that opportunity to be that true number 2 wide receiver this year, but let's say he's kind of just pedestrian the next few weeks. Maybe week 5, week 6 could make sense to add him. We'll see how soon Gordon latches on with the team. I don't hate that because, like you said, Reid has given second chances with success, by the way, throughout his coaching career. So I don't mind that at number 3.
Number 2, New Orleans Saints. Like Andy Reid, Sean Payton has given second chances to a lot of players out there, and he's willing to bend with some of the personalities in the locker room. Now, Sean Payton, a lot more intense than an Andy Reid, but the reason I have the Saints on this list, the future of Michael Thomas is uncertain coming off that foot injury that continues to nag. And Michael Thomas and the Saints have kind of clashed heads. Over the last couple of years, they've had multiple disagreements, and I think the Saints, like the Chiefs, somewhat thin at the wide receiver position. And I could see Sean Payton saying, you know what, Jameis Winston's playing pretty well. We're kind of thin at the wide receiver spot. Can we take a chance on Josh Gordon? And I think he'd be able to thrive in that offensive scheme from Sean Payton. And then number 1, the Baltimore Ravens. They have suffered a litany of injuries over the last couple of weeks, most of them coming at the running back position. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Rashad Bateman, their first-round pick, because of that groin injury, kind of core groin type of injury. But you put Josh Gordon on the Ravens, and I think it does add a dynamic element to that offense. And with Lamar Jackson, sometimes when plays break down, you have to be able to play some recess, free-flowing football, and I think Gordon would work in that regard in Baltimore.
So you got the Chiefs, the Saints, and the Ravens. Baltimore being more injury-focused there.
Yes.
I think that makes sense. I think the Saints make a ton of sense as well. We'll get to my list here in just a moment. Before we do that, though, we want to tell you about our sportsbook partner. That, of course, is BetUS. Use our link below. It's very important to use that link, chatsports.com/bet. Just open up a separate tab. Type that in, chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code CHAT125. That's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. Put down $100. You can get $125 bucks for free. And we have a jersey deal going. So follow these steps, some of which I just mentioned. Go to the link, chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code CHAT125. Make sure you sign up and deposit. And also
at least $100.
At least $100. Also, you must place a bet on any game. Doesn't matter for how much. It can be a $5 bet on any game, any sport. No big deal. And once you've done all of that, email us, jersey@chatsports.com. We have a ton of different jerseys available from all of your favorite teams. Just email us, jersey@chatsports.com. We can show some of the jerseys on screen for you guys. I know a lot of Justin Fields fans out there. We've got Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott. I know we have some Nick Bosa jerseys. Tons of different ones available for all 32 NFL teams. Follow those steps. You can scrub back and screenshot it. You can also ask Chase and I questions on how to get going with BetUS if you can't figure it out. Chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code, which of course is chat125. You get 125% deposit bonus, and then email us, jersey@chatsports.com. Okay, let's go through my list here for Josh Gordon. Number 3, how about the Patriots? I know they already have given him this chance, but, and they cut him loose. They could use a receiver, man. N'Keal Harry's banged up. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know what he's going to be like when he does come back, but they've also been a team that has given players second chances. Now, they'll cut you in a second if there's something they don't like. I think that the Cam Newton, weird missed test for COVID thing contributed to his release, for
Important
example.
to note, Gordon is vaccinated.
He is vaccinated, so he can hop on with the team right away. So that is certainly noteworthy. So I think the Patriots could make some sense at number 3. At number 2, the team he's been with, because Seattle has brought him back on numerous occasions now. I mean, they've given him 2, 3, 4 chances here. He's familiar with the system. Russell Wilson's a big fan of his. I think that goes a long way. So I've got Seattle at number 2, and then at number 1, the New Orleans Saints. Kind of like what you mentioned, Michael Thomas, who knows when he's coming back. He's kind of been a diva recently as well. I think this Saints team could end up being better than what we thought, so why not take a calculated gamble here, Chase, and bring in a guy like Josh Gordon, who, worst case scenario, doesn't work out, you cut him, because he's not going to garner anything more than a vet minimum contract. But if he hits, Saints are thin at receiver. Could he be a number 2 type of receiver? I think it's possible.
I see somebody in the comment section saying, well, the Saints signed Kenny Stills. That means no to Josh Gordon. Yes, Kenny Stills might be more reliable than a Josh Gordon, but Josh Gordon is the better player with more upside.
There's no doubt about
Much more
that.
dynamic.
Even with all the time off, every time he comes back, he flashes. Now, I don't think he'll ever be that consistent dominant player or anything like that, but he is still a big play weapon when healthy. So, listen, I think all 3 of those teams make sense. I think the teams you had make sense. I think a lot of teams will have at least some interest. I'll be very interested to see where Josh Gordon goes. Predict it for us. Where will Josh Gordon play in 2021? Thursday Night Football, we're just about 2 hours away. Giants, Washington, a pair of 0-1 NFC East teams. Get your votes in. NYG for the G-Men, WAS for the Washington football team. By the way, Honest Laker fan says, why not the Bucks? They have about 7 receivers.
They're just too deep. They're way too deep.
At best, he's your number 4, and realistically, he's probably your 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're just way too deep to add Josh Gordon. There's no room for him
on
the
roster. They didn't have AB, maybe.
Yeah.
But they've already signed their Josh Gordon.
All but 10 players from last year's team that won the Super Bowl back on the team. So they don't have any spots to fill.
By the way, Tricky Nicky says the Rams. That would be interesting.
Yeah, but they brought in Deshaun Jackson. That was like their version of the Josh Gordon signing,
Still intrigued with Stafford, dude.
Very intrigued. Let's ride.
SM says Washington. JW says the Lions. See, if I'm Josh Gordon, I'm trying to play with a contending team. I just don't think. He needs good culture and guys around him that can kind of keep him level-headed. I don't know if chomping at the kneecaps Dan Campbell is the environment Josh Gordon needs to be involved in.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Shelly says Washington. Jack Boy says the Giants. Well, cheers to that super chat, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Giants going to win from Jack Boy. Jannard Jenkins says Washington. Kendall says Giants. Robert Bruce says Harrison. I know it. What do you know? I'm trying to figure out. He says Bill and Josh left on good terms. When he was released. I could see the Patriots bringing him back. Like, say they're like...
Yeah, the Patriots weren't like, Josh Gordon, we hate you. No. It's like, unfortunately, we got to get rid of you because he keeps slipping up.
The back and forth. Belichick, after a while, gets tired of that. He gives second chances, but eventually he's like, you know what?
Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon, Randy Moss. It's just it happens.
It is what it is. Appreciate you guys weighing in on this one. By the way, coming up here in about 10 or 15 minutes, we're going to hop into an NBA mailbag, so use hashtag NBA NBA. I think we're talking college football next. Is that right? Is that what we're talking into? Some major college football rumors, including the latest around the USC coaching gig, so stay tuned for that. But first, get your questions in, hashtag NBA, or you can super chat. We'll go ahead and answer those questions coming up here in about 10 or 15 minutes. Let's talk college football here on any given Thursday. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. here, and hey, rumors around the USC coaching job continue to circulate after Clay Helton was given the boot by the USC Trojans, and it's going to be interesting because this is one of the premier jobs in the country.
Look, when Pete Carroll was there, it was almost as if USC was a minor league football team. Games at the Coliseum were lit, and it had a very professional atmosphere because all of the celebrities in the Los Angeles, Hollywood area would come to watch
Snoop.
Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and the bevy of phenomenal players who wore that Trojan uniform over time. But since Pete Carroll has left, this has been a bad football program. And the big reason why this is such a key talking point is because of the glory days of Pete Carroll. People realize that USC is a national brand.
Yep.
It is a preeminent power in college football, and the potential is there for whichever head coach takes this gig. And there's a long list of them. You broke it down on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. It's such an appealing gig for that reason. Plus, you're in the state of California where there are so many premier recruits on any given day. Offensive line, defensive backs, wide receiver, running back, quarterbacks, they all hail from the great state of California.
You do not have to leave, and you guys can answer this question, by the way, who will be the next USC head coach. If you are the head coach at Southern Cal, you don't have to leave the area to recruit.
No.
There is a bevy of talent in Southern California. Now, sure, you want to recruit nationally. That's what all good programs do. But you basically don't have to.
And the problem with USC and Clay Helton is you have the Mario Cristobals of the world and the Nick Sabans of the world coming into your territory, on your turf, stealing your recruits
State.
From a program that used to get all of them when Pete Carroll was there. So they need a great recruiter.
So we'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. Who will be the next USC head coach? Let us know down in the comments. So here are kind of the hot rumors right now, Chase, and we'll kind of go one by one here. Urban Meyer, of course, was asked anytime a major college job opens, Urban Meyer. He says no chance. I don't know if I believe him.
I buy it.
I
do buy it.
I buy it today. I wonder if I buy it when the Jags are 1-10.
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean?
That changes
what
things.
if he's 1-10?
Information changes opinions.
If Urban Meyer is 1-10 and he says, you know what? I've never been a loser at any point in my life. Maybe the NFL isn't for me, and USC is calling my name. See ya, Jacksonville. Someone else can run this Trevor Lawrence offense. I'm heading out to LA, baby. I think I believe him for now, but let's hit the pause button on this one, Chase. I definitely think this could change because I do think USC will take their time. Because I think a lot of their candidates they want to talk to are head coaches of other college teams, and you can't really talk to these guys right now because we're just getting going with the season. This is an interesting one to me, this second bullet point. Eric Bieniemy expected to draw interest, the Chiefs head coach, which, by the way, it's a crime. He's still not a head coach in the NFL. Let's be clear about that.
Great offensive mind.
He's on the record in the past for saying USC is one of the only college jobs he would even consider.
Yep.
And Adam Schefter reported that he would draw interest here. So that's interesting to me.
Yeah, because Colorado was interested in Bieniemy because I believe he played there.
He played at Colorado, but he was like,
you're not going to Colorado when you can still coach Patrick Mahomes as the offensive coordinator. He deserves to be a head coach. And for those saying, well, why would USC go after a pro coach? That's what they did with the Pete Carroll formula. If you remember, he failed with the Jets and the Patriots as a head coach. And I think a head coach or an offensive coordinator from the NFL level could have the chops to bring USC back.
Bob Stoops hopped on ESPNU radio with Danny Cannell, who's covered college football forever, and would not dismiss it. I listened to a couple of clips from Stoops, and he said, look, I can't control the rumors. I've never been one to deny or to blow up rumors around my name. He even threw out a line, I can't remember the exact quote. He basically said, I'll never dismiss something that could be the perfect fit. I don't know if this is the perfect fit, but you never know. So he won't dismiss it, which honestly is a smart move on his part. You should always want to be in the mix for these kind of things, even if he's not that interested in, even if he's comfortable with Fox right now.
Yeah. I just think Stoops is done. I really think Stoops is done.
We'll see.
Yeah.
XFL. He hopped back in for that.
He was itching for that.
But they were letting him do whatever the hell he wanted. Luke Fickell, this was reported by, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports said it's, quote, his job to lose because USC AD Mike Bone hired him at Cincinnati. And now he's the AD at USC, and Fickell's done wonders for Cincy. He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
You could argue they've been the best G5 program the past half decade. Now, here's what I wonder if you're Fickell. Number one, Cincinnati's going to be in the Big 12 in a couple of years, so he gets into the Power 5 if they stay Power 5. We'll see how that plays out without having to leave. Also, I believe that he wants the Ohio State job. Now, Ryan Day could be there for 25 years. That's the risk, right, of just sticking around and waiting. So I'll be fascinated, to see if that report, I'll put that loosely, is true, because I think it's too hard to say what are rumors and reports right now with this thing. But if it's truly his job to lose, then that'll be very, very interesting. And then James Franklin kind of deflecting, and I know you've got strong James Franklin Penn State opinions coming from the Northeast.
Yeah, so James Franklin has been at Penn State since 2013, and I think over the last 5 years, he has done a tremendous job recruiting. You look at that Penn State roster throughout the last 5 years, they have been able to produce some very, very good professional players, some star players at the NFL level. And I think James Franklin is a candidate for USC because of his energy, because of his culture building ability, because mostly important, his recruiting ability. Yeah. But I'd make the argument that right now Penn State is a better job than USC. Now, the potential of USC makes that job very attractive, but look at what James Franklin has done. They're consistently a top 10, top 15 program. He's making $8 million in rural Pennsylvania. They already won the Big Ten championship a couple years ago over Wisconsin, and I think right now and over the last 5 years, Penn State has been the second most talented team in that conference, right behind Ohio State. And this year is a perfect opportunity for a Penn State, for a Michigan to compete for the Big Ten title because Ohio State looks to be down. So if I'm James Franklin, everything is right there in your home state of Pennsylvania, and it's all working out in your favor. You have serious momentum. I'm not leaving a great situation for one that has potential but is uncertain.
I think you make a good point where you say the ceiling of USC could be higher, but Penn State today probably is a better job, and here's why. Number one, the Big Ten is much more stable than the Pac-12. There's just no denying that. So that is in your favor. Number two, he's established there. Like, he would really have to fall off a cliff for Penn State to be like, hey, we're cutting ties with you. Where if he goes to USC and is 500 for 2 years, they'll just fire you. I mean, that's just how that's going to go. On the flip side, when USC is good, they're just running the Pac-12. Yeah. I mean, no matter how good James Franklin is at Penn State, he'll never run the Big Ten with Ohio State in that conference. It just won't happen. Yeah. Whereas the ceiling of USC, you get it rolling in the Pac-12 out west with Southern Cal, you can kind of own out, the entire western part of the United States from a recruiting standpoint, from a winning standpoint, just from a, what's the term? Culture, I guess, is the right term, because Pac-12, let's be honest, some of these fan bases aren't that strong. You look at these packed stadiums in college football, not many of them are out west, but when USC is good, it's rocking in that stadium. We just haven't seen it in a long time, so I'll be fascinated to see who takes this job, who else could be in the mix, because there's a lot of names flying around right now when it comes to USC. Before we move on to our next topic here on our college football segment here on Any Given Thursday, is USC still a top 10 program? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Is it a top 10 program today?
Not right now.
I'm kind of with you.
Not right now.
I think the ceiling of it is top 5.
The last 10 years tells you no.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to say. BetUS is the number one sports book in the game. That I can say with 100% guarantee. And you should make money throughout the college football season at chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code CHAT125 if you want to bet on college football or the NFL. By the way, I know a lot of you guys are NFL fans. We got a jersey deal for you guys. So follow these steps. Get going with BetUS. This, of course, is brand new BetUS customers. Chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code BET. chat125. Place a bet on any college game, NFL, any NFL game. Then email us, jersey@chatsports.com. We'll hook you guys up with a brand new jersey from your favorite NFL team. The steps are on screen. We can flash them up for you guys. Chatsports.com/bet. Chat125 is the promo code. Sign up and deposit. Want to add this little step? Place a bet on any game. You got to deposit $100 to get that $125 for free, but your bet can be for as little as $5. And then email us, jersey@chatsports.com. Let's talk a little about Steve Sarkeesian and the Texas Longhorns here now. Chase, is he panicking in Austin? 2 games in, and he's benching his quarterback. He's going back to Casey Thompson.
Last week on the show, we were very complimentary of Steve Sarkeesian. I thought he did very creative things offensively in that first game against Louisiana. It was a good win against a ranked team that was very well coached, and Hudson Card looked pretty good in that game. Then they go to Arkansas, and they got their teeth kicked in. They got a preview as to what SEC football is all about. It wasn't even close from kickoff until the end of that game, and Hudson Card didn't play well, missed a lot of guys deep, and because of that, Steve Sarkeesian has now elected to change quarterbacks going with Casey Thompson. Is it a panic move? I think it's way too early to move off of Hudson Card because I thought he showed some good things in that first game against Louisiana. Before I toss it over to you, the only thing that kind of comes to mind when I think about going with Thompson over Card is this. Is he worried about Thompson going into the transfer portal? And then they don't have a lot of quarterbacks on the roster, so then you're kind of screwed when you only have a Card to go to. You want to see if Casey Thompson can show you something. But I think it's a panic move after what was a disastrous performance in the Pigpen.
So I have a few thoughts, and then we'll make our college football picks of the week. Number one, this is absolutely a panic move. You named Hudson Card your starting quarterback after an entire spring and summer. He played well in the season opener, and after one bad game on the road in an SEC environment, you bench your quarterback. That's a panic move. Now, a couple of things could be at play. Number one, Texas's offensive line has not been good. It was bad in the opener. It was worse against a physical Arkansas team. Casey Thompson's more mobile. Maybe you're saying, you know what, I need a guy who can move around a little bit more back there. Okay, that's fine. But is Steve Sarkeesian about to be in over his head in Austin? This fan base, these boosters, don't take long to start booing you. Trust me. I've been watching this program my entire life. My dad walked on at Texas. I'm very familiar with what goes on in Austin. They better figure this out quickly because this back and forth crap does not work because you could risk both guys entering the transfer portal. I go back to Kevin Sumlin at A&M a few years ago when all of his quarterbacks transferred. This is not a good situation if you're Texas, and kind of like USC, who we were talking about a little bit ago, historically a great program, but it has been a long time since they have won at a consistent clip in Austin. So we'll ask you guys this question, and then Chase and I are going to make our picks of the week. What's the better program right now? Type USC or type UT?
Great national championship back in the day.
I still think Texas is the better program, but my God, they cannot figure it out.
I like Texas better, but
they both
going to the SEC, I might lean USC now.
You know what's crazy? Only one coach in 40 years has been able to handle the pressure of the Texas job, and that's Mac Brown. No one else has been able to do it. So USC or UT, let us know who you guys think the better program is. Make sure you guys are subscribing to us here at Chat Sports. Chase and I love talking college football, so if you want more college football news, rumors, weekly picks, previews, rankings discussion, which once we get later into the season and those playoff rankings come out, we'll be discussing those, I am sure. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. This is the link for you. Make sure you subscribe for more college football videos. All right, Chase, here are your Week 3 picks. Let's hear it.
Yeah, run through these very quickly. Boston College, 15-point favorites against my alma mater, the Temple Owls. These are not the Temple Owls that Matt Rule coached to national prominence a couple of years ago. They are bad. They're playing Jordan Lynch's brother at quarterback, who was okay last week, but Boston College should win this game going away. I like South Carolina getting plus 31.5 at
huge.
Georgia. I like Georgia. Their defense is great, but they're on their second quarterback. South Carolina is 2-0 with a former grad assistant turned quarterback. I like this story. Give me the Gamecocks plus 31.5. Florida State. You lose to Jacksonville State last week. Can you rebound, go on the road as 4-point underdogs to beat Wake Forest? I think Florida State should win outright. My question is, how good is Notre Dame after Florida State nearly beat them in the opening week? Not great, maybe. Alabama minus 14.5 against Florida. Alabama is just built different, Harrison. That's a term that we like to use. I think Alabama is just truly elite, and Florida is good to very good. Also have some questions at the quarterback spot, but I like Bama, 2 touchdowns plus, and then Penn State in the whiteout against Auburn. I'm picking Penn State solely because I think the defense is going to thrive from the energy of the whiteout crowd. I've been to a whiteout game. There is nothing like it in college football. It is a true spectacle. I don't know if Auburn knows what it's running into. Now, Auburn has played in a lot of hostile SEC environments, but it's a little different. Nighttime, in the whiteout. I don't have a lot of faith or trust in Sean Clifford. I do love the defense because I think there are multiple pros on that side of the football. I'm gassing Penn State as 5-point favorites. My upset pick, Michigan State on the road against Miami. Manny Diaz, I think he's a fraud, not because he skipped out at Temple after he was hired, never coached a game, went back to Miami, but I just don't think Miami is that good. I really don't, and I think Michigan State is pretty solid. They showed me some things the first couple weeks of the season, especially in that opener. Michigan State as almost touchdown underdogs. They go on the road against Miami, and they win outright.
Rules on our upset picks, by the way, got to be 6 points or more to win outright. So Michigan State over Miami is Chase's upset pick. Here are my picks. This is a tricky one, but Indiana was really bad against Iowa. I think Cincinnati has a similar caliber defense. I get it. It's at Indiana, but -4 for the Bearcats. I love Luke Fickell and the way he coaches. I think they cover and win that game by at least 5 points. Bama over Florida, like you said, built different. Florida has quarterback issues. Emory Jones can't throw the ball that well. He's a good runner, but Bryce Jones, when it's all said and done, this might end up being Nick Saban's best quarterback, and that says a lot with the type of signal callers he's had over the last several years. This is a bounce-back game for Ohio State, a get-right game. I think they smashed Tulsa. -25. I could see this being like a 52-10 game. I really could. Tulsa's got some decent players, but I think Ohio State absolutely murders them. How about Colorado? I told you guys last week, 17.5 underdogs against A&M.
Almost won.
In Denver was
almost
a
got the
joke.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. A&M injury or not, quarterback injury or not, I definitely think they would have covered that 17.5. I think they beat Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't have Mo Ibrahim, who is a terrific running back. Lost him in week 1. I like the Buffaloes at home in this game. And then trap game, UCLA, a lot of hype. Trap game, Fresno State +11.5. Don't be shocked if they win this game. Book that as well. I'm not picking that as my upset, but it would not be surprising at all if they beat UCLA. I think they cover for sure. And then Purdue +7 at Notre Dame. You mentioned it, Chase. I don't know if this Notre Dame team is any good. Jack Cohen's been okay at quarterback. I think the biggest difference in Notre Dame this year compared to recent teams, where's the defense, man? Florida State gasses you for 38. Toledo puts 29 on you. I don't know, man. Purdue getting a touchdown on the road. I get it. It's in South Bend, but give me Purdue to win outright in this game, +7 at Notre Dame. That is my upset pick of the week here on Any Given Thursday. And let us know before we hop out of this college football segment, who is your favorite college football team? Let us know in the comments. I'm a TCU alum. You're a Temple alum, so it's kind of Temple-Penn State hybrid?
Yes,
is that,
from
is,
PA.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Temple, not much of a football powerhouse,
No,
as
not
we know.
these days, no. Let us know, favorite college football team down in the comments. Okay, here we go here. Get your favorite college football team down in the comments. Come on, even if you didn't go to college.
The Passional TV signed Josh Gordon to the Falcons. Nobody likes the Lakers from Honest Laker fan except for you, I guess.
Tricky.
Michigan Wolverines from Tricky Nicky.
Ohio or Ohio State, Alize?
Alize.
If
I
it's
think going with Ohio.
By the
Bobcats.
way, so my alma mater,
NIU Huskies.
my alma
Bad beat
mater
last week.
played Duquesne in week 1, who beat Ohio in week 2. Bad loss. Bad loss for the Bobcats.
Yeah, bad loss.
They're not quite Ohio State.
Mark A. Lewis, Ohio State.
USC from SM.
Yeah.
Boston College. Their
Robert
quarterback's out, right?
Yeah.
So you're still riding with BC over Temple 15.5? Temple's bad.
Temple's bad.
Did they already benched DeJuan Mathis
He's
already?
hurt. He's hurt.
God.
Yeah, week to week.
Who's coaching Temple?
Rod Carey, former Northern Illinois coach.
Does
he ain't it.
Does he last this year?
I don't think so.
Man.
If I was the AD, I'd get rid of him.
Not good.
Yeah.
Another Boston College. We got Oklahoma, the Wolverines, Iowa from Evan, Ohio State. Got to get props too, but I still roll with U of M. So you're a Michigan fan, but you're giving props to Ohio State. Trying to figure out what's going on there. Featon says Michigan State. I think Michigan State's a sleeper in the Big Ten this year. Notre Dame from Aaron. Appreciate you guys for letting us know. Producer Jack's favorite squad, Arizona State. They got a tricky matchup at BYU this weekend.
Yeah.
I made some money on BYU last week. BYU over
always
Utah.
good.
Give me the money, baby.
Yeah.
BYU at home's tough. They're always
West Coast late night football too.
Pac-12 After Dark is lit this
It's
week,
good
by
stuff.
the way.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3. You're going. ASU's going to lose. All right. He's not confident in his own squad. We are confident on how we break down the NBA here. So get your questions in. Hashtag NBA or Super Chat. Chase and I are ready to rock and roll to answer some of your questions. So use hashtag NBA. Honest Laker, I'm looking at you. Get your questions in.
And Super Chat.
Hashtag NBA, of course, Super Chat. Chase and I are ready to drink up. It's fine, Jack. We'll roll with it. Hashtag NBA, or you can Super Chat to get your questions on the show. Before we hop into our NBA mailbag, Chat Sports, hey, we're plugging out NBA videos left and right. Myself, Chase Sr., the latest news, rumors. We do weekly Q&As like this as well. If you want more NBA coverage, the season is almost here. Hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Live mailbag time for the NBA here on any given Thursday. If you're watching this and it's not Thursday, well, we go live every Thursday on this show called Any Given Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. So join us. NFL, NBA, college football talk. We break it all down. Let's go ahead and jump on into your questions, starting with SM. Hashtag NBA. Who will the Lakers sign with their last roster spot?
Who the hell knows? I mean, people were joking with me yesterday saying Lakers going to trade for John Wall now that he might be made available.
No money.
Yeah, he's due $90+ million over the next 2 years. He will not occupy that final roster spot for the Lakers. It's going to be a bottom of the barrel signing. That's what you're looking at, SM.
Honest Laker fan, if the Lakers get John Wall,
here we go.
What will his role be?
Look, they can't
What am
absorb
I
the
willing
salary.
to do
Yeah.
if the Lakers sign John Wall? Like, there's just
It would have to be a trade.
Guys, they would
unless
have
it's a
to.
buyout.
How about this? They would have to trade Anthony Davis. Do you want that to happen?
Yeah, to free up money.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, and they're not gonna trade Russ. They just traded for him.
Right.
John Wall will not be a Laker.
No.
Book it. Evan Hinders, I'm a Bulls fan. Will the Bulls win over 51 games? So 51-31.
Yeah, 82 games
Yeah,
scheduled this
we're
year.
back to the normal calendar too. Mid-October start. God, that's still a lot of
That's
games,
a lot.
man.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like 45-48.
I like 45,
46 and 36,
I
somewhere
like
in
that.
that range.
Yeah.
You know, if you win 50 plus, you got to. I mean, you're a top 4
A
seed.
potentially dangerous playoff team because of that lineup
I do
construction.
think it'll
but
take some time for this group to like gel together. You see
Yeah.
this all the time, and these teams get a lot of star level talent together. It takes a couple of months.
Right.
So I could see them being, like 20-20 through 40 games, and then they win, 27 of their final 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
So good question, Evan. I do think the Bulls are going to be a fun team to watch. Alizai, do you see Clay ending his career with the Warriors? I do, but you never know. He's not like a Steph where like he's been the Warriors. He's obviously one of those figures, but he could sign somewhere late in his career.
He could, and so too could Steph Curry. It would be weird to see them in other uniforms outside of Golden State, that's for sure. But look, when you have pillars of your program like a Clay and like a Steph, it's only right they only rock one uni.
I agree. Star-Lord next up. Do the Celtics have the roster capable of making a playoff run?
No question. No question.
I want to see
they have
how,
two of the best wings in the league.
I want to see. This is why we
a
have fun on this
borderline
show.
MVP candidate.
I'm not sold on what Brad Stevens has done in his first offseason as the GM. I have no idea what kind of head coach Ime Udoka is going to be. I think he'll be good. He's highly touted.
I like him, yeah.
How does Marcus Smart play at the point?
Yep.
Or does Dennis Schroeder take over as the starter?
I think it's going to be Smart as the starter, and then you have Dennis Schroeder slated to where he fits best.
6-man role.
6-man. By the way, taking a picture with a Bugatti and a Rolls Royce,
Dude.
kind of bodying himself for turning down
was
$84 million from the
epic.
Lakers. It was a good self-body, that's for sure.
Hey, that's good attitude to have. He's ready to rock and roll. I like it. He's
yes, they're capable of making a playoff run. That's my opinion. You have two of the best wings in the league. Tatum is an MVP candidate. He's gotten better and better every year. So
Yeah.
too is Jaylen Brown.
I think point guard play is the key.
Yes.
You got to get good point guard play, and your bigs got to play better.
But Tatum can control the rock late in games too.
He can.
So,
he can.
yeah.
They have a closer, and that's very valuable.
Yeah.
Are the Celtics playoff contenders? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm not convinced. Chase thinks they are, so get your votes in. Y for yes, or you can type an N for no. Robert Bruce, today the 76ers made a statement about Simmons saying that unless they get players, high-quality players, and not draft picks, they're going to retain Simmons. If he's a no-show, he gets fined. The reports are that he is prepared to pay the fines. He does not want to go back. Now, that could change, but as of now, he's pretty set on holding out in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so there's a reason why this is called Any Given Thursday, this show, because we're recording this live on Thursday. The Sixers did release that statement on Wednesday saying the obvious, right? Unless they get high-quality players back, they're not going to trade away Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons is willing to fork over money if he doesn't report the training camp. And I think the Sixers have come to the realization that that might happen. You can't trade away a multi-time All-Star and a first-team defender for garbage.
Yep.
So the Sixers are going to try to leverage other teams into getting a decent package back. There's not much of a surprise there.
SM here, then we'll hop into that super chat after this. Is Steve Nash on the hot seat if the Nets don't win the title?
Kendrick Perkins was going all in on Steve Nash, saying he was the reason they lost that playoff series against the Bucks.
They lost because their big three was down to 1 1/4.
Yes.
James Harden should not have been playing. He only played because he had to, and Kyrie was hurt. Yeah. I mean, if they're all three healthy, the honest story is great. They ain't beating the Nets if they're all three healthy. I'm sorry. That's just
I don't
fact.
think they do either.
No way. I mean, They almost lost to KD by him and Jeff Green, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giannis run is awesome. I don't want to take it away from him, but if the Nets are healthy, they're title favorites in the East. So if they're fully healthy, SM, and lose in like the second round, yeah, he could be on the hot seat. That could happen. I'm not ready to go there, but I think this is going to be a tough out. Juicy White Man.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to you. I see injury being the biggest issue for the Lakers again. I don't know what he's saying after that.
Tatum is better than LeBron. No, he's not.
No, he ain't. Even still, he ain't.
I'd say LeBron James is the second best player in the NBA right now behind Kevin Durant.
KD, LeBron, and then Giannis right now? Is that the top three?
Yeah,
Kawhi
I think
at 4
so.
when he's healthy?
Luka might be 4. Steph Curry has to be a top 5 for
me. I think
me.
Kawhi, Steph, and Luka round out your top 6.
Now, is Jason Tatum, is he emerging into a top 10
10
player? He's borderline
top
for sure.
12.
Yeah,
he's close. James Barnes, is KP going to stay with Dallas? I mean, they're not trading him.
It looks like it.
Unless he wants to go Ben Simmons on you. I do think that both parties are going to give this a real go. New regime with Jason Kidd. He flew out to Latvia to meet with Porzingis in the offseason. Reportedly had a good chat with him, has a good game plan for him, so we'll see. I do think Dallas wants to give the due diligence to the Luka-KP duo because they traded a lot to get this guy. And to punt on it after a couple of years, I think they want to give it a real go with this new staff. Now, if he's banged up a bunch again this year, if he doesn't play that well, I could see them trading him next offseason because he'll be easier to trade with less on that contract. But I think at least for this year, he will be with the Mavericks.
The NBA trade deadline next year could be wild.
It really could.
You could be looking, if Ben Simmons goes back to Philly, a Simmons trade, a KP trade, a Bradley Beal trade, a Dame trade, CJ McCollum.
Something with the Warriors.
Something with the Warriors potentially. It could get crazy, and for our business, that's great.
And we'll be live for it here on Chat Sports. Should the Mavs trade away Kristaps Porzingis, type T for trade, type K for keep? Be the GM for us. Let us know what the Mavs should do with KP. Got time for a few more here. Alizai Pin. Hey, Chase, this question for you. One-on-one, AI versus Kyrie. This has been a topic, Chase, so take it.
This is a really good one-on-one matchup because AI has the crossover. He's got the elite quickness. And I think Kyrie's handle might be a little bit better. And I kind of like his finishing ability around the rim a little bit better because he's more creative finishing around the rim than AI was, who just took a lot of bodies and went to the free throw line a lot, but was still a good finisher for his size. One-on-one, I'm going Allen Iverson. I mean, in my soul, I have to go with the answer. Otherwise, I'm violating everything that I've stood for in all 29 years of my life. So give me Iverson, more of a dog, more confident, more of a baller. Kyrie, way too flaky for me. Give me the answer.
Kyrie better at finishing and shooting the three. One-on-one, though, just pure ISO game, I'd probably go AI as well. He was an elite ISO scorer.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Tricky Nicky, if the Bucks make the finals again, can they beat the Lakers? I don't think this is like the days of when the Warriors were making the finals and it was such a mismatch. I don't think any teams that make the finals, the other team has no chance. I think the last few years, parity has happened in the NBA, which is good.
Yeah.
So
since the Warriors run, there hasn't been a back-to-back winner.
And the series have been more competitive.
Yes.
Six games each the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that they could beat them. I think the Lakers would be favored, but I do think they would absolutely have a chance. Galactus, how long until LeBron hangs it up? I think at least until Bronny enters the NBA. He wants to overlap with him at least 1 year, right? So 3 more years because Bronny's a junior?
Yeah, and look, LeBron is 36 years old right now. He's going to turn 37 in December. And if it wasn't for that high right ankle sprain, he was in contention for MVP last year.
Yep.
He was excellent. And Rich Paul has been telling people throughout the offseason that LeBron's going to play more 4, AD at the 5. I think that conserves both of their bodies a little bit more. Because AD is running around less.
Yep.
And then LeBron can kind of stay in the post more, and then late in games, he can control points.
I do think you'll see over the next few years more LeBron load management. I do think you're going to see that to extend his career. So I would say he plays at least 3 more years, Galactus. He could play 4 or 5, though. I mean, this guy takes care of his body. He's very Tom Brady-esque in that way. He's always in great shape. So we'll see how it plays out. When will LeBron retire from the NBA? I'll say he plays through his 40-year-old season. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely playing into his early
maybe
40s.
42?
So in our generation, like, he wants to defy Father Time, and he already has, but he wants to defy Father Time kind of like what Tom Brady has done, because both of them came into their respective leagues at the same time.
Yep.
Tom Brady 2000, LeBron James 2003. He wants to play into his early 40s because it further adds to his legacy over a guy like MJ.
At least 5 years then, if that's, I mean, he's got a lot left in the tank. I don't think there's any doubt. If you want to bet on LeBron for MVP, there's only one place to do it, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code chat125. I think we even have Western Conference betting odds that we can flash real quick for you guys if you want to bet on that type of thing. BetUS allows you to bet on individual games. Prop bets, you can bet on who's going to win the NBA Finals. The Lakers are the favored to win the Western Conference right now at plus 150. What does plus 150 mean? You put down $10 on the Lakers. If you win, you'll get your initial 10 back plus 15 additional dollars. That's what that means. Put 10 on the Suns, you'll get 75 additional back, and so on and so forth. Chatsports.com/bet. That promo code chat125, that'll get you a 125% deposit bonus at sign-up. So Chase and I did the simple thing of put down $100, we got 125 for free, we're good to go for the next several months.
Can't
so
wait
make
to lay
some
the lettuce
money
down, baby.
with BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. Honest Laker fan, Lakers going to be extra cautious and will prove the doubters wrong. I don't know if there's a ton of major doubters. I think the question mark is how old a lot of the roster is.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. It was actually a segment, youtube.com/LakersTV. You can check it out there from last week's show. Yeah, I mean, Lakers are going to be extra cautious with LeBron and AD because they realize they need both of those guys to compete in the playoffs and make a deep run. But again, a lot of the older players that they've had, or have on the roster, I should say, they've never really been injury prone. So I think they're going to be fine. They're all in for this year, and that's all they need to be all in for.
Evan Hinders, you get the last word unless someone super chats. Will Trae Young win MVP? I don't think this year, but I think
at some point.
I think at some point he's got a good chance. Now, a lot of MVPs nowadays, you really have to be a top 2 or 3 in your conference. Steph last year had a great argument to win it, but since the Warriors basically didn't even make the playoffs, that's why he didn't. If you flip him in the Nuggets record, I bet Steph wins MVP. But since Jokic and the Nuggets won more games, he was able to win it. So I think he'll be in the conversation for a while, Evan. The real question is who wins one first, him or Luka? I think it's Luka.
I think it's Luka. I think Luka this year could average around 33 points per game. Also for Trae Young, he's 22 years old, the youngest player ever in NBA history to win an MVP. Derrick Rose at 22. So it's very rarefied air.
Luka also 22.
For guys in their early 20s to win MVP. I think Luka gets it before Trae Young.
Who's your favorite NBA team? Maybe you're a Hawks fan. Maybe you're a Mavs fan. I know there's some Laker fans in the comments. Let us know in the comment section. We'll interact with you guys on today's video. Get some shout-outs here. Let us know who your favorite
Shout out to Tricky Nicky for just flowing in the chat all day.
Keep the chat flowing.
That's good stuff, Tricky Nicky.
That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. Appreciate
Chicago
it.
Bulls from Jackboy 600. SBA Sports Talk going with the Warriors. Pistons from JW. Gotta love that Cade Cunningham selection. I think Luka Garza is going to be sneaky good this year. Knicks, obviously, LOL from our dude Tricky Nicky.
Bulls from Jackboy.
$2 super chat coming in from Juicy White Man. Peeps don't doubt the Lakers. They hate LeBron. Both are true. I think people doubt the Lakers this year because of their age. They also hate LeBron. I've learned to appreciate and admire greatness. Love me, Chauncey Billups. Hornets and Cavaliers from Mark Gabbert. That sucks for you. Man. Outside of the LeBron years.
Except for if you listen to if you watch the Hornets home games, because
their announcer's
their
dope.
play-by-play guy is a legend. What's his Eric something?
I forget, but he's the man. Yeah.
Bridges with the tomahawk. He is absolutely fantastic. We got another Lakers fan in there. Evan's a Bulls fan. Appreciate you guys for letting us know. We're about to get to the final word in just a minute, but what do you think the better sport is? NFL, NBA? Get in the comments. We'll get some shout-outs here, and then we'll find out what the final word is on today's show. Brand new segment we're launching every week. Our last segment will be called The Final Word. Basically a topic Chase and I think is a big one, and we'll get some thoughts on it. So we'll unveil that to you in just a few moments. NFL, NBA, what do you guys think is the better sport right now? Jack says NBA all day. Shelly says NFL. J-Dub says NFL. Mark says NFL. Howard says NBA. Let's see here. Jack says basketball as well. Hey, you know what, Chase? We cover both here at Chat Sports.
Cover both.
College
we do
football,
it all.
We do it all. We're not frauds. We're not stiffs. We're not one-trick
We're not
ponies.
one-way stiffs.
No. You can't ever.
Right.
No one-ways
Can't
unless you're in downtown. That's the only time. So final word coming up, and then we will wrap up today's show here on Chat Sports. It's time for the final word here on Any Given Thursday, our last segment from our live show that you can find on Chat Sports every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. Today's final word is around Jameis Winston, Sean Payton, and the New Orleans Saints. Has Jameis Winston been reborn under the offensive genius of Sean Payton?
It's pretty wild, the success rate that Sean Payton has had with backup quarterbacks.
Yep.
Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. He has been a great quarterback developer, a great quarterback teacher, and a great quarterback guru. And I think all of that and the momentum has carried on to Jameis Winston. And I think Jameis Winston deserves a lot of credit for how he played in that stomping of the Green Bay Packers in Week 1. The arm talent has never been a problem with Jameis. He played baseball as a pitcher at Florida State. He's been throwing low to mid-90s. He's got a cannon.
Yep.
The problem with him has been maturity. It's been the propensity to turn the football over, especially at inopportune times, especially when he threw 30 interceptions 2 years ago, an NFL record because he threw 30 touchdowns in addition to that. I want to give Jameis Winston credit because last week, he looked the most athletic, he looked the most in shape, he looked the most confident, and the most spry that I have ever seen Jameis Winston in his NFL career. He was fleet of foot, he was mobile in the pocket, he stepped up when the pocket broke up around him, showed some good pocket awareness, able to make plays with his feet, and the stat line, while he only threw for 148 yards, 5 touchdowns, good touch, good accuracy, made good decisions, and I just think that the pairing of Jameis, aggressive guy, Bruce Arians, no risk it, no biscuit, aggressive guy, kind of meshed in a negative way because both of them never had a feel for when to pull it down or throw the football away, whereas Sean Payton, he is aggressive, but also manages the game in spots too and has a good feel for the game. So shout out to Jameis Winston. I'm excited to see how he can play this year. And I think it's one of the more riveting stories across the NFL in 2021.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting. I want to give credit to Jameis as well. I've never been a huge Jameis guy. He was a questionable, to say the least, decision maker, not only on the field, but off the field, especially in college, early on in his career.
Crab legs,
did some stupid,
standing up on tables on campus.
Caught up in a sexual assault allegation, put himself in bad situations. But I will say this, while the Buccaneers situation did not work out, he took less money to be a backup in New Orleans because he wanted to learn from Drew Brees. He wanted to play under Sean Payton, and that has paid off for him. He beats out Taysom Hill. He comes into New Orleans and gets this opportunity, and 148 yards isn't that much. That stat line is better than any stat line he's had in his career because 14 of 20 for $148 and 5 touchdowns is much better than 31 of 55 for $426, 3 touchdowns and 4 picks. And that's what we saw way too often during his time in Tampa Bay, is that he was just way too erratic. He just forced the ball into triple coverage. I don't know if the LASIK eye surgery has paid off. Maybe it has because he's not making nearly the amount of bad decisions, but I think he signed with the perfect coach, with the perfect team, at the perfect time for him in his career. He's only 27. He could still be that number 1 pick he was 5-6 years ago.
Because let's be real,
there is time for
he showed
Jameis
flashes
Winston
of
to
that.
be great.
Yeah, and he showed flashes of that with Tampa Bay, but it was the off-field lack of judgment that then translated to the on-field lack of judgment. He was never in good shape. But again, I watch him in week 1. I'm like, I've never seen Jameis Winston look like this.
Man.
He looked like he was in better shape than he was at Florida State when he won a national championship, and that was the big reason why he went number 1.
Yep.
He has first overall NFL draft talent. Unfortunately for him, he turned the football over way too much, but I think you make a good point in saying the situation has been perfect.
Yes.
Maybe he needed to take a step back. He needed a breather. He needed to mature. He needed to learn how to become a leader because he's always had that energetic, fun part of him. He needed to learn from Drew Brees, and that year last year really paid dividends. And I'm also happy that Sean Payton went with Jameis over Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill isn't an NFL quarterback.
No.
Use him to his strengths as a weapon. Plus, Jameis has a complementary supporting cast around him. They can run the football with Kamara. They've got a really good offensive line, and once Michael Thomas comes back, he's got a legit number 1 wide receiver.
So do you guys believe, and especially you Who Dat fans, Saints Nation, which, by the way, anyone living down in the New Orleans, Louisiana area, thoughts out to you. It's been a tough time, but hopefully Jameis and the Saints are giving you guys something to smile for so far. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you believe in Jameis Winston? I think I'm typing my T for TBD. Time will tell, but you can't ask for a better start than what we saw. It's not like they were playing the school of the blind in week 1. This was the Green Bay Packers, who have some talent on defense coming off the edge.
NFC Championship
Preston
game.
Smith, Zadarius Smith. Shout out to the Saints defense, by the way, for just shutting down Aaron Rodgers and that attack over
Slobbernaka.
there. But I think there is real optimism about what you could get out of famous Jameis this year. He seems to have reined in more calculated decision-making than just, hey, I think I can make every throw like Patrick Mahomes, so I'll just try and throw it through this linebacker. That doesn't work in the NFL like it did at Florida State. Hopefully, he has a new approach to playing the quarterback position, and he better, because if he doesn't, Sean Payton will not hesitate to make a change. So big year for him. If he plays well, I think he can cash in after this season.
I do too, because I think he has franchise quarterback ability with a head coach like Sean Payton. And for the Saints, they might be able to even get him at a bargain. And for this year, he could be one of the best bargains across the NFL.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And by the way, real quick, go subscribe to our Saints channel, youtube.com/Saints today. We're like 10 subscribers away from 1,000, and that's kind of the benchmark here at Chat Sports. Once we cross 1,000 subscribers, which my producer said we actually just crossed, we can do more videos for you guys.
Bang, bang.
That's how it works. So Who Dat Nation, shout out to you guys.
The great city of New Orleans.
Yeah, keep it rolling here. I love New Orleans.
New Orleans is great.
Great city. Big
if
fan
I could spend a weekend in like a select few cities across America,
it's a great 3-4 day weekend.
It'd be New Orleans. I know I'm going to hurt on the Monday after,
it's worth it.
But it's totally worth it.
No doubt. YouTube.com/Saints today. Listen, I'm optimistic. I think there's real potential here. And like you said, a great bargain for what he's making right now. So watch out for the Saints, man, and watch out for Jameis. I kind of wish I would have put a little 10 spot on Jameis MVP odds before the year, by the way.
And what was it? It was like
It's like 5,000.
5,000 to 1?
Yes.
5,000 to 1. So you risk $1 and you win.
Put 10, you could win $50K.
$50K. Get the bag, just like Jameis might get next year.
See what the updated odds are.
And I don't think with this we're prisoners of the moment.
No, of course not. We need to see a lot more. But it's
because
a good start.
of what we saw in week 1. But it is a great story, and he showed in the preseason that he can play. He has shown in his NFL career that he can be a successful quarterback. You just got to be able to limit the turnovers. So with that, let's pose this question for Who Dat Nation. Do you think that Jameis Winston is going to sign a long-term deal in New Orleans? I'm leaning 1, so I'm going to submit my 1. HG, what do you say?
I think the hope is that he will, because that means he played well, and you don't have to go draft someone.
Yeah.
So I'm typing my 1 for yes. Let us know what you guys think. 1 for yes or 2 for no. We'll get some shout-outs here, then we're going to wrap this thing up. No loop-de-loop, Jack. We'll just go ahead and kill this show here in just a few moments here. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Tricky is saying yes. SM is saying no. Get your votes. And let's go TNF one more time here, Jack, before we sign off. We'll go ahead and pose that one as well. Mark says no. Robert says yes. What do you think? You think he's getting a long-term deal?
I mean, it's so early to say because we have to see how he plays over the next 16-plus games if they make it into the playoffs. But I want to see it happen because I also think he's a great quarterback for New Orleans.
I could also see like 2 years, $50 million, where he doesn't quite get that major franchise money, but
and I think that's smart.
Security.
It's like, hey, Jameis, we saw how you played in a full season as a starter.
Prove it for 2 more years. You'll be 30 at the end of that contract. Then you can really cash in. If
get
you're
a duffel bag
level.
again.
Chris says yes. Mark says no. We'll see. It's a good start in New Orleans. All right, before we sign off, Any Given Thursday, episode 2, just about in the books. Who you got? Thursday Night Football, just over an hour away from kickoff in D.C. Type NYG for the Giants. Type WAS for the Washington football team. We can get a couple of shout-outs here. I'm going to go Washington. I'd like to see the Giants win this game for my boy Money Marsh, but I just don't trust that offensive line, and quite frankly, I don't trust that coaching staff.
I think the Giants are a dumpster fire. I think the offensive line is bad. Injury issues have hit them at bad times.
They don't know how to use their offensive weapons.
And their offense is stagnant, it's lame, it's boring, and in 2021, that doesn't fly.
That ain't it. Couple shout-outs here, then we'll sign off. SM going with Washington, Jack Boy going with the Giants, Jalen going with the Giants, Sam going with Washington, Brady going with Washington. Appreciate you guys for tuning in on today's show. I'm Harrison Graham. He is Chase Sr. Shout out to producer Jack Lott.
Cheers, y'all.
Tune it in, Thursday. Lock it in, youtube.com/chatsportstv, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central Time, any given Thursday. Tell your friends, spread it on social media. We're trying to become one of the biggest shows here on YouTube. We'll be back next Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern.